Good.
Thank you so much to our viewers, wherever you are tuning in. Welcome to Lagos State Media, Beyond Boundaries. And in the studio today are two intellectuals, two great minds of our country, the gentlemen that always fed the public with the ideas and how the country should be run. These are two gentlemen that has really served the entire nation of South Sudan since their childhood, and they are still dedicated to the affairs of our country up to date, and they are still moving forward for that matter. Many of you have been waiting up to this day. Since last week, we announced that we will bring these two gentlemen on board to come and analyze the audio of former governor Alena Yang Aleu. And not only that, they will also touch base on the entire political trajectory of our country and some other things that South Sudanese may ought to hear from them. With those few remarks, permit me to welcome each one of them, at least to give us his opening remark, actually. And before that, I will request you, our viewers, to share this live show so that it can reach to many South Sudanese to come and listen to their views and their wisdom. We always talk, that's where we'll find solution. A society that does not talk is always doom. And thank you for that. Allowed me to welcome Awolich to give us his opening remark. Then we move to Honorable Ateny, the former press secretary in the office of president. Awolich, the chance is yours.
Thank you very much, Majok Makur and Lake Media team, Lake State Media team, and my brother Ateny Wek for this opportunity today to share our perspective on the future of our country. And I also want to welcome all the listeners, citizens of South Sudan across the world who are tuning in to listen to us. I greatly look forward to this discussion in relation to the future of our country. The objective, of course, for those of us who speak is not to destroy our country, but to fix it. Because when people talk openly about affairs of the state and government and of the country, perspectives that are not seen are able to come up. There are certain things that I'm not able to see now, which my brother Ateny Wek is able to see clearly, he would be able to share that, and I can change my mind as a result of that perspective. The same thing, maybe there is something that my brother Ateny Wek doesn't see from my perspective that I would be able to share, and that would enable him to see things differently. So an opportunity like this, uh, our objective is to enlighten our people, enlighten our citizens, so that they can become better citizens, and to help our leaders to broaden their perspective so that they can govern more effectively. So this is the purpose of this type of debates, and the media such as you are a vessel. You are there to carry the message, to amplify the voice, and so your role is important. In the growth of any country, there should be a free media, an open space where people who have different visions for the country are able to share those visions, and the citizens are now able to pick at what time, the timing of when they feel that a certain message is more useful to them. So today I look forward to having this frank and honest discussion with my brother Ateny Wek Ateny. I'm going to treat him as doing this in his personal capacity, not as a representative of government. And so am I. I'm going to be sharing my perspective as an individual, even though a member of certain institutions or certain perspective. But to say also that I'm a Christian, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, so I'm led by the provision of John chapter 8, verse 32, which says that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So it is on that basis that is where I draw my inspiration to speak and to share my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Abraham Walich, for that powerful opening remark. We move to former First Secretary, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny. Give us your opening remark before we dive into our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Bol Makur, and all the state media personnel and those who are inclined to follow Lagos State media. I'm glad and delighted to be among the people invited to this studio this evening, and it is night and is morning elsewhere in the world, to be able to share the perspective of how our country should be governed. I agree with Ustaz Abraham Awolich by making it broader, by saying it is the perspective of how our country is to be governed, which is a responsibility of all of us. I agree with him because the issue of analyzing the audio of the former Governor General Ateny Wek, that's a small thing. Is a small part of the bigger thing. So we have actually debated it already extensively, and I don't think there is anything left out of to be discussed on that. So my coming here to debate or to discuss issues with my brother Abraham Awolich is on the basis of trying to fix things in our country, and we make it a workable thing. We are not coming to destroy the country. Yes, I agree that I am not having any official responsibilities. I am Ateny Wek Ateny as a private person as I speak. Although it was only a year ago that I actually left my job, that I was relieved from my position. And 1 year is legally is a very short time for anyone who hold a position that was so sensitive as the position I was holding to be able to speak about some of the classified information that were entailed in that position. But as a citizen, I have the duties and responsibilities. I have the responsibility to ensure that when there is something wrong in my country, and I think I can say it without prejudice to the well-being of of running the country, or the well-being of developing the country, I can say it freely, because now I don't have direct responsibilities with the government. I know it's not going to be an easy issue, because you see, our people and their understanding will determine exactly what the kind of a debate we would be actually undertaking this evening can entails. One thing, politicians or analysts are like fish. Fish stays in the water, depending on what kind of water that is available for fish. If the water are murky, it's likely to dictate certain type of fish to survive. Blackfish, that is catfish and eel, can survive in that circumstances. And the white fish will perish simply because the water are murky. Our society, the way it is even defeating the reason why anyone would even want to be a politician, because the understanding of the people is like this fish. The water that becomes so murky to the point some of fish or some of politicians will not be able to maneuver, simply because the water are murky. So the white one will have to perish, and then the black one will have to survive. So it is not what we will say here this evening with Dr. Awolich that will make the millennium to come to South Sudan, because it will also be analyzed by the people. The people have their own perspective. People will be accusing us here and there. Okay, there will be people who will accept that Abraham has said this, Ateny Wek has said that, and there will be no universal acceptance to what we will be doing this afternoon. So, gentlemen, we are just trying, as we have the duties as citizens of this country called the Republic of South Sudan, to be able also to exert our efforts to make sure that our country is a better one, is the country in which the 2 million or 3 million died simply because to achieve the flag and achieve the sovereignty of the country, as we are here, as South Sudanese. Both of us here, 5 of us now in the studio, we both hold dual citizenship elsewhere. Okay, but for me, as a Ateny Wek, I don't feel as proud as dual citizens, because the dual citizenship has only taken me and my children, those who were born inside the United Kingdom, or any other children who were born outside, subject to going for a DNA, submitting for DNA in order for them to be given dual citizenship. But if I go anywhere in the world and have my children, they are automatically South Sudanese by birth. I don't need to struggle to explain. And there's no DNA that will have to prove in order for me to have my children accepted as South Sudanese. So as we are dual citizens of other countries, we have a great duty to make sure that South Sudan survive and South Sudan see the light of the day, in order for us to be able to think that we have done something. Otherwise, if we destroy our country, then we have destroyed ourselves. Because dual citizenship doesn't take your mother, doesn't take your father, doesn't take anybody except you alone. So I want to say this afternoon, I'm coming to this debate with the hope that anything little I will say, God will help me to, or will guide me to say something that will not be able to be used, okay, to destroy individuals or to destroy the country. Yes, my brother Abraham has a moral obligations as a Christian to which he actually subscribed. And he has actually quoted Matthew chapter 8. I say, I am a person of who is me, who I am, a person of who I am. I thought the Christianity has only 100 years in South Sudan. If you are lucky that your father was a Christian because your father went to school, and you are the second generation of those who became Christians, I can say you are lucky. But what about 1,900 years? Because Christ is not 100 years old. Christ is 2,000 years old. So I thought, as I started as Christian because it was an obligatory kind of thing. It was the Arabs started with us in 1971, trying to Islamize us. Even I am also taught about Quran. I know Quran very well. And in 1974, a Christian headmaster, and changed us to the Christianity. So I know the two books well. But I have decided to be where I am because I'm subscribing to Ateny Wek, and he is something that I think can guide me properly. So Abraham will be guided by Jesus. I will be guided by Ateny Wek, all under God. Okay? But at the end of the day, we are doing something which is going to help building our country. That's what I can say for the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny Wek. Ateny. Indeed, there is analogy that you made there has really described the whole political situation in South Sudan. The issue of marked water with the white fish and the black fish. So the white one had no option because then to ferret or to flew away. And then the black one remained in the dark because they always enjoy it. Thank you for that. And the issue of Ateny Wek, that thing, I think you need a 2 minute to explain to the public. What is Ateny Wek, by the way? To me, that's what I always ask myself. What is Ateny Wek? Is it like a ring, or is like a certain an African god, or is the name of your grandfather?
Our people believe, those who are actually who have taken sausage tree as their totem. Yeah, all the Dinkas as actually their totem, including Awolich. Okay, Abraham and Abraham Lincoln. These are names, Kawajan name, Taban. You know this. Okay, Lawrence, Thomas. These all Kawajan names. They came only with colonization. Had it not been for the fact that the colonization came to our country, we won't be Abraham, we won't be Lawrence, we won't be Thomas today. So I thought, the Dinka can only count up to 14 generations. They don't know where they came from after 14 generations. So our people believe those who are actually taking the sausage tree, the royal, as their totem, they believe that their grandfather, okay, was hiding in the hole of a sausage tree. But back to the days when the Christian civilization, the Muslim civilization were conquering our areas. I know we have changed areas. Some people say we came from Egypt. Some people came through Bab al-Mandab in Yemen, and some people talk and talk. So the Dinka origin, anybody, even all of you here, there's nobody who can count up to 15. We count up to 14. And some can even go less. So myself, I managed to go and count up to 15, up to 14. When I count to 14, Kom, my great-great-grandfather is called Kom. That Kom is the Wundior, is the Mayual in Lake State, okay? Is the Dior in Abiy,
Yes.
and is a Queen in a will and all this. So our great grandfather, I thought, if God has created us, unless somebody wanted to tell me that God was not a creator of other faith, which are not Christian and Muslims and the Jews, it is only three. Can you believe this? The sons of Abraham, not Abraham Awolich, the son of Abraham are three.
It's the same, okay? Abraham, so it continues. Ateny Wek.
Yeah, the son of Abraham. Okay, the son from from Egyptian maid, it was called Ashmel.
Yeah,
And
Ismail,
Ashmel,
Ismail and Isaac. Isaac is son of Abraham. Yes.
okay. Isaac became a son of Sarah later on, because Abraham has begotten a son, okay, called Ashmel first, with the Egyptian maid, and then later on, because the Egyptian maid became too aggressive towards Sarah, and Sarah was the legitimate wife of Abraham, okay, then Sarah cries to Almighty God, and God answered her prayers. That's why, Isaac was born to a legitimate wife, and then he's starting to try to make the maid again, to return her to be a maid again, and she has already been a wife that has begotten a son. Okay, so they abuse the Egyptian maid, and the Egyptian maid ran to the desert. Okay, with the boy. And also God went and promised him, God is for all of us. God went and promised her. God says, I will make also your kingdom to prosper. And Ashmel is the great grandfather of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and then Isaac, okay, at Jacob, who is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, so now the whole world, you look at Buddhism and Hindu, they are even more than even Christian and Muslim and Jews combined. But only 3 religions are accepted to be godly. The rest are not. So unless somebody says that Tanjore was not created by God, that is the person I will be debating. Otherwise, I want you to be what you are. Even I respect Christian, because they have to be Christian in order to be where they are. And I have to be a Tanjore in order to be where I am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for explaining that Tanjore is not just a name. It's a God in a small g, and what your great-grandfather believed in, and is actually is in every society, especially even in Western world, they still have those belief before the coming of Christianity, Islamic, Buddhism, and all this. Thank you for explanation. And to our viewers, I will yield it back to my co-host, Isaac Tiangpol, to give us his words of appreciation to our guests, and also play a audio clip of less than 3 minutes. Thereafter, we'll go into our conversation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Majok Makur Balak, and thank you, Honorable Ateny Wek and brother Mr. Abraham Awolich. Welcome again back to Lake State Media and all our audience in the clubhouse and those who are watching us in YouTube and the Facebook. Please share this. It's very intellectual debates, and it's really so good. Before we dive into our conversation, we need to watch the clip of the former governor, Aleo Yang. Do we believe that his statement was truthful? This is where we will dive.
Ang to kumpun kaya cham panchol Ba joga na wahid mwanjang chumun polmel. Ba tegi makir gai. Ba bay pa ka koy ayu ngong dan de chol ngadi. Kala chirka den chol amok wala ngadi. Kuraji. Ba bay bang ma jal. Ba bay ni mwanjang ki de tajir ban. Aju ko business that look tin pa bi lu chirkat ken kalalang. Wala ngan ke dukana let chop buka chi lu ka lo business with the government bas. Bira na lo ni yig turumbi kala bakala ba ko chi ka bi ko nyagiri. Bira na lo ni yig dalala ko jay yig dal ba men jum bol mil chi yig dal ginu ko pon and nothing is moving. Ko yig cargo la ga yoy kila ga yo kada kiran tejen ko kachen ke la ga yo kiran taxing it mashakil junub ya tujar ai jar yal za to ke ga kiron met ai ga min ai la political bureau ke ga wet ka ba ki advisors, very senior advisors to the president. Kurane tajira kata sugu ten is actually milking the cow road the top. Ida idea lwelia. By the way, you do not saga when a chag lwel on a deck, I take a token. I look on what can midway and do not saga up to now. Then I can do Ben ten a bucket build one rap kaka up in the state. Duro saga wana ki yang yak pa den la ten suk ten and you forge any number of rap konti ku bet kay ban ku tanya kay kitim wolaya ku storekeeper signature ku ja signature wali ku bar ke very clean document ku ba ku lom wow tijar den halal tijar den kini bless ki junubin kwek achi pal Eritreans kujala Ethiopians, kuj East Africa, ku Lebanese. Kuchi Darfur ene chi suk bandan sundan penye dukana let kuria ku wadiaban ke ga chedo. Amon jang yo kaj dukana let ila ket kede chi kongting. Mon jang wi room tan akuma bas.
And that's all from this is where we will start our conversation. I will yield back the microphone to the host, Majuk Makur. Take over from here, and I will drop myself down to control the comment section side and Clubhouse. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isaac Temple. So our viewers, for the purposes of the record, the design of this audio, the pictures put together, the wording is not from Lagos State Media. You need to know that we don't judge. Ours is to bring guests and share their views. So the wordings, cartels, the business looting, businessman looting the country, business looting man from Barkazal, these are not from Lagos State Media. We just found them from a certain group, and then we start playing the audio. So you need to know that for the purpose of record. Thank you. Let's move to our conversation, and we will roam around the fan of the truth. And I will start with Honorable Ateny. Listening to that small audio, and you said before you seconded what Awolich put clearly, that we will share views in regard to the governance system in our country, and most especially on politics. And once you look at the politics, it's inclusive of all the manners of things that are happening in the country. And the most theme of today's discussions is about corruption or no corruption. And if there is, then what should be done? And if there is, at what rate do we engage in such activity in our country? And to begin with, I will ask Honorable Ateny, do you believe the statement or the remark released by the former governor of former governor Ateny Wek to be truthful, or there are some things attached to it which are not realistic? Because you are on the ground, you have been in that government, you know what is in and out, and you are the person who can tell the public exactly what is happening. And 60% of the citizens may believe what you can say to them because you were in the house. Thank you. The chance is yours.
Thank you so much. Majok Makur, for actually giving me this opportunity to be able to say something about an audio that trended wide and clear since the last week or so. First of all, the question is not about whether I accept or I don't accept it. Because I am not Ateny Wek, and Alew is not me. Alew has his own way of saying things, and I have my own way of saying things. So what Alew was saying has been translated to many other languages. You are sure you are on the other forums. not Lake Media alone, but other forum has even translated. There are those who are so generous enough who have translated the audio into a text in English language so that it is read in English language. And later on also, it was also translated into Arabic language. So anybody who is concerned about our country has already got a glimpse of what Leo has to say. When I was writing about the audio, I was not saying that Leo was saying the truth or he was not saying the truth. The thing is, my brother Abraham Awolich echoed the audio of General Leo and made it in an academic way. You know, he has done it in a more damaging way even than the way Leo has actually said it in Dinka. Because, you know, those of Abraham and Peter Biarajak, okay, and those other young men from the former Red Army turned academia are well-class professionals. Anything they say is actually given a big meaning in the West. And so a simple audio that Aleu was talking to a selective member of his community in their WhatsApp group was translated to go wider by Abraham Awolich. That is why I actually wrote an article in which I said, is the audio of General Elena Yen being on the verge of being killed by Valentino? Because I know Brother Abraham Awolich has already discontented with the government, became discontented with the government. When he actually declared his PCCA from 30th of July 2021, okay? He is clear. He has taken an opposition. Opposition is not a bad thing. Our people may be not knowing the opposition, the meaning of the opposition. When the opposition is objective, it guides the government. And I always term and the opposition as the header, okay, of the headers. The header heads scuttles, but opposition is asked to head the headers, so that when he talks, he's not talking about how cattle strays to the palm farms and destroyed crops and other people's properties. He's saying the manner in which the header was heading the cattle was wrong. And he will actually be proving it to the public, so that the public, by the time of the election, the public is able to make a better choice as to who is the right person to govern the country. But in South Sudan, an opposition is taken for animosity, which is very unfortunate, by the way. And do you know why I'm always online and talking and engaging the opposition? It's simply because I know that there is something they will be educating me about. Because I know the opposition, if it is objective, the opposition I don't like is the opposition that insults people. The opposition that is so arrogant and aim to only insult. But if you dialogue with someone and tell them exactly what you feel about a certain thing, you know, I am a believer of the fact that when you get an opportunity to get to serve in the job, you are not the best. Okay, you are the luckiest. God has chosen you to be in that position at that particular time. South Sudanese are 12 million, and I was press secretary for 9 years. Okay, if it was to be food on the table and then the competition ensued, I would not even come I would not have even become number 5,000. If I become number 5,000 in attaining that position, I would have even clapped my hand. But God has a certain way of doing things. That is why I always believe when I get a position, I think somebody who is better than me is somewhere. Okay? And that person did not is better than me, but he did not get the position. If he did not get the position, I can call that person to help me in order for me to succeed in that job, so long as the job is for delivering service for the people of South Sudan. And this is where actually I came to be closer to Abraham Awolich on that, because he's one of the people, when he was, back to Juba, he's one of the people that I and Mayik, the Minister of Presidential Affairs, we have been calling him. Okay, we have been calling him to actually help in an areas of expertise. It's not a bad thing. There's nobody that is born actually 100%. Okay, so when Abraham became discontented and went to live in the United States, I know when Abraham left the country, one of the people that signed with him, that is Comrade Kwelagwer, was put in prison for 1 year until the court acquitted him. Yes, to come to the point of the audio, Aleu has a number of things he has said, and they are truth. They are naked truth. Nobody can say Aleu was just talking out of blue. Okay? But I was seeing Aleu as a senior government official, a senior leader of that establishment, the SPLM. He was recently the governor, less than a year ago, because I left the office first before him. So he have not yet even attained 1 year since he got out of job. So I was of opinion that a very senior official like Aleu should have find other means from which to air his concerns instead of saying them to public. They are truth. They are naked truth. But I was speaking as an SPLM member. Okay, both of us are SPLM members. Okay, but I thought we do this typical Western style of when you are a part of a system, you don't criticize that system. That is the reason. But I'm not saying that Aleu has said lies. What has gone wrong for many media houses? The audio went trending on social media, but up to now, no media outlet tries to interview General Aleu to whether confirm all this in other languages, okay, or says I'm not going to talk to the media. Now it is the audio that has been left to trend, and nobody is asking. Nobody is going to ask for Aleu, okay, to talk about it, whether he regretted or he stand by it. You people of Lagos State media should go out and reach him. I'm not here to criticize what he said, and I'm not here also to cement them. Okay, because I am a South Sudanese. Yeah, I'm a South Sudanese. I'm not working with the government now. If the time for me also to speak about these malpractices come, I will do it my own way. I don't have to echo somebody's statements or make somebody a statement or beat somebody's statement to withdraw their statement. I cannot do that. That's what I think.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny, for that explanation. Lagos State media tried their best for the whole of 1 week to reach out to Governor Aleu, and unfortunately, it's difficult for him to respond, and it has left us in questions like maybe he's not willing. And for that reason, we will also request you to put your hand together to help us on how to convince him so that he can join and come and talk to South Sudanese. But there is one thing that you said there before we go to Awolich, that he was speaking in their WhatsApp group, of which that question should be him to answer. Literally, it decides what he was saying was not for the public. He was saying it purposely for his own WhatsApp group comrades. And fortunately, someone from that WhatsApp group leaked out the whole audio to become the public. So I think that could be the reason. Or is there anything that you can clarify on that?
And that is my point, by the way, because I said General Aleu was speaking in the Tony White WhatsApp group. Tony White WhatsApp group is a selected members forum, because the whole of Tony, which could be more than 1 million inhabitants, there's no way they could be in a one forum so that one speak to them at one time. So Aleu was speaking in the WhatsApp group. Of course, it is a recording. You record your voice, you send it for people to listen. But someone who was doing it out of, maybe he was doing it out of the fact that he wanted this thing to go viral, went and put it in public. Beyond Tony. And Aleu did not come back to the media to tell people that I don't regret what I said. Okay? Like now, we are talking here. Okay? We take responsibility. I take responsibility. Abraham take responsibility of what will come out of his mouth. Because Lagos State media, okay, can be seen to be an online media that may not be going to more than 1 million or 3 million people, but it goes worldwide. It goes to billions of people. So Aleu, the fact that Aleu did not talk in another forum in the aftermath to the audio to affirm what he said or to deny it or says I was just talking to certain people. You know, the Dinka and Nilotes community takes communities as something sacrosanct, to the point some of us, okay, when we are speaking to our communities, we think that is the well. We are talking to the well of their own, in which they can even live there without anybody else. So that's why I say, as I know this, it happened to anybody. That's why I was doubting that the audio was not meant for everybody. It went to everybody, of course, because the well is only a small village nowadays. Whatever you say can trend and goes anywhere. But why Aleu is not talking to say, Ya Jama, I don't regret. Okay, in spite of the fact I was telling because in the audio he was mentioning where da Puk. Okay, where da Puk, which means the guy was talking locally. Because if he was talking within Warab, okay, he will say where da Puk, where da when, and where, and where, and where, and where. Okay, the statements were local. Okay, but why Aleu is not coming out to say, okay, he will not say I have been taken out of contact, because he cannot swallow all these words. He can just say, you know, I was meaning to talk to the Tonj, to the people of Tonj, but it went worldwide. And that's the point of contention. I never said the audio was saying rubbish. I never said what Aleu was saying was rubbish 100%, no. But given his position as a senior leader of the SPLM, quote, between the court, if the government collapse, government of Salva Kiir, okay, who is in the room that is collapsing? Aleu is there. Okay, so if you are in the room that is about to collapse, or that is to collapse by any circumstances, you will not help that house to collapse. That is my point of contention.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarification and for actually giving some of the wording in his context that wet apuk. Exactly, that translates that his intention was not for the public consumption. It was specifically for a certain group of people within Warap or within Tony. Thank you for that.
Let us agree that even 10 people are public. Okay.
Yes.
But if you are talking to 10 people, or you are talking to 500 people, you are talking to 500 people, you think they are trustworthy. If your audio goes outside, then you will have to coin a different explanation to say it all together, because you didn't mean to talk to the world.
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much. I will yield back to Abraham Wolich. Abraham Wolich, seeing the audio came to the public and actually trading on WhatsApp group and other media outlets, you came out and you wrote a very good or very big document backing up what former Governor Alena Yang said. Kindly, can you explain to the citizens to what inspired you to back up his statement? Is it because he has said what you have been saying for the last 4 to 5 years? Or you were like saying you were in the government too? So why were you not speaking when you were in the position? Kindly explain to the public. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Majog Makur, and I also appreciate Ateny Wek for his comments on Aleu's audio. And I think what triggered our debate on this subject matter is Ateny's response to my comment on Aleu's statement. From my perspective, when I listened closely to what Governor Aleu was saying, I felt vindicated that he now the person who is in the inner circle of people governing South Sudan has come out to echo exactly the type of concerns that I had. But I knew also he's constrained. He could have said more. But I knew that he was constrained partly because he's a member of the governing party, and partly because he is a government official and an MP. He's still an MP right now. So he basically narrowed his comment on and the subject matter, of course, was triggered by the nomination and appointment of the new Minister of Finance. So he looked at the issue of finance and how ministers are brought in and taken out, and he made his comment in that context. So my objective was to elevate that conversation, not to look at it in the context of finance alone, but the broader management and governance of the country. And so my objective was actually to amplify Aleu's voice and to say that not only are we struggling to manage our financial resources, we are actually struggling to manage the country as a whole. And I could not agree more with Comrade Ateny's two analogies. One is the issue of the murky water and the fish. I think he said it perfectly, and I agree with him. The duckfish is the one that has been left to survive in South Sudan. But the white fish is either dead or dying or running away. And that is exactly the context in which Aleu spoke. I also agree with him when he said that the government has a manner of expressing views. So if you are a government official, there is a place where you can express your views. And if you are a member of a political party, there is some discipline, there is some respect that you must give to the institution. But my argument was, I was trying to help Aleu so that people like Honorable Ateny and others who may blame Governor Aleu for coming out public to understand that the party is not working. This is why Governor Kwal Menyang and Daniel Awet and now Aleu actually spoke. Because in the party where they are supposed to sit to debate issues and to govern the country collectively, those institutions have been rendered dysfunctional. And so there is no space in the SPLM or in the parliament or in the cabinet where people like Aleo could go and speak in this manner. Those avenues are not available. The space has been shrunk so tightly that shared leadership and shared responsibility is dead. So my objective was to try to help Aleo by telling the people of South Sudan that actually the reason Aleo has spoken in this manner and the reason Governor Kwal and Daniel Awed and others will continue to speak in this manner is because the space where they are supposed to speak doesn't exist. The party, the SPLM, doesn't function the way it was envisioned. Decisions are made arbitrarily and they are then imposed on citizens. Yesterday, I was speaking to one MP who is an intellectual and a very senior member of the party. And I said, you know, the recent budget, how was it passed? And the person captured it perfectly. He said, in the SPLM caucus in the parliament, we are called into the SPLM house and we wait for the chairman. And when the chairman comes, he lectures to us for an hour or two or more. And then he will say, now we are going to do this, and people clap and we go and carry it out. And therefore, that reflects that there is no debate. Debate doesn't happen. And people who are itching to debate things have no space, and therefore they get boiled inside and the pressure build in them. And when they get the opportunity, they will burst out the manner Aleo did. And so it is not malicious intent on Aleo's part or other people's part. It is actually a byproduct of a political space that is so tightly squeezed as to suppress those who would want to speak. But that doesn't, of course, take away the fact that there are certain, there was one time I was a consultant for the government, you know, we carried out what we call the comprehensive evaluation of the government of South Sudan. This was in 2011, before the independence. We were made to sign a contract that we cannot discuss what we have found through that evaluation for 3 years. So there was a clause, confidentiality clause. This is now more than 10 years, but I have not spoken about those things. Why? Because I respect the integrity of government. There are certain things about the government that are not for public consumption. So there is one aspect of that is true. But if it came to the point that the country is collapsing, as the Honorable Ateny has spoken, and that more and more a certain group of people, and I want Honorable Ateny to speak to this, a shadowy group of people who are hiding somewhere in the dark, in those murky waters, if it has reached a point where these people are the ones running the country and consuming the entire budget of the government, and the government is failing to provide service to its people, and the government is failing to govern the way it was conceived to be governed, then it is a legitimate duty of any citizen, either me or Honorable Ateny, to speak out and to say, actually, the government is running in a manner that is not consistent with the principles for which the country was founded. I believe that, and that is why I'm speaking out. And when Governor Aleu spoke out, I found myself identifying entirely with him. And so my job was to amplify his voice and to actually expand the network of those shadowy people, that they are not just business people. It is a whole web of network of people operating below the president and using the powers of the president to make decisions that affect the political dynamics of the country, that affects the management and running of the economy, and that disrupt social cohesion within the country. If it is not exposed, it will continue to hurt. And that is why usually when you have a swelling in your foot or any part of your body, and there is a pus in it, it has to be open so that the pus can come out, so that the wound can heal. Because if the pus is allowed to grow, it will eventually kill the person. So I think we have reached a point where it can no longer be hidden. The truth can no longer be hidden. We need to expose these people, and we need to stop them from running the country in the shadow. We need our leaders, who are legitimate leaders, to run the country and to make decisions, and so that they can own the decisions that are made. So this is what prompted me to support Aleo. I agree with him, but I also know that he is constrained. He is constrained. He's not able to speak because he is not able to speak in the domain, in the party in which he is supposed to raise these concerns, because there is no space. The space is not given. The chairman of the party doesn't allow debate to occur in the party. And so the party leaders and these guys are beginning to see that the decisions are being made in their without their involvement or their engagement. And they begin to wonder who is making these decisions. And one of the key areas where decisions are made by these shadowy people is in the area of the Minister of Finance. As soon as somebody is appointed, there is already a group, before they are even sworn in, there is already a group of people working to bring that person down. And so the ministers of finance are not being appointed to run the ministry as to grow the economy. They are appointed based on the lobby of this shadowy group of people, so that he can go there, as Aleo has mentioned, to go and pay their claims that have no basis, claims that have not been negotiated through normal government procurement procedures. So my job, and the job of any other citizen, whether you agree with, whether you support Salva Kiir or you don't, is to stop these people who are running our country in the shadow. We have to stop them. And if Aleo agrees that this group exists, and Honorable Ateny himself has agreed that this group exists, then it is our collective responsibility to expose this group of people and to stop them from running our country in the shadow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Abraham Awolich, for clarifications and also making your letter more open and explaining to the public what prompted you to back up his statements in regard to how the affairs of our country, and most especially the finance sector, is being run currently. Thank you for that. Let me move back to Honorable Ateny Wek. There is a statement said by Abraham Awolich that there is a shadow group These peoples are running the whole economic sector of the country below the government, especially the president, and they are just between the president and the ministers. They are not even in the parliaments, they are not even on the street, but they're just there. And these are the people that control the oxygen of our country, and that is the economy. Kindly, do you believe that there is shadow group that is running the financial affairs of our country? And that's why the economy is not prospering? Thank you.
First of all, I have no direct answer to it, but let me just make my point a bit clear, because I've used the idioms or the adage of a fish living in a water, depending on that type of water. If the water are murky, then it faces the white one out, and the black one leaves. The black are two types, by the way, and they are not in the same category. The catfish can live in a murky water, but if water become more murky, more dirty, and even waning completely, the yield will dig deep to the earth and will survive, and the catfish will still go. Why I'm saying this, and I wanted people to understand it clearly, so that it is not taken out of context in which I have actually used it. First of all, what is a country? And what is the people? Okay. If we go deep into the meaning of what is the country, okay, then taking into account the type of the people that make that country, we will get answer to all this. First, let us not forget the three things. One, that South Sudan emerged out of close to 100 years of marginalization in the Sudan, and made South Sudanese to live in Khartoum. Even when they are even ministers, they don't feel they are part of the Sudan. They served not with integrity, but they served with the fact that they are there for time being. And when some times come, they will go back to what they will be calling a home for them. Okay. Like when we were talking about a country being new, the country is new, but people are not new. If you see the leadership, starting from Salva Kiir was an officer in the Sudanese army. Okay, Kwalmanyang was an engineer. Daniel Awena Akor was in the Sudanese army. All of them, people are old. But the problem is, those who were politically active in the Sudan did not think Sudan represents them. So they did think the way they were doing them, because they were still waiting for their country. That's one category I want people to understand. Okay. Now the people are divided between the two. The people, as a result of the counter-insurgency strategy that was employed by successive Khartoum regime, people migrated to Khartoum and some part of the Sudan. South Sudanese were scattered all along. And they were living in a country that was not theirs. They had children. The children grew up to the point of even entering the university. They entered to university, they don't have a home education, because they were educated, they did not think that they were being educated in their country. And the part that went to refugee camps in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in Uganda, they grew up, they had their children born there, and they grew up there. They have adapted themselves to certain things, of how certain things are done. And then you look at the majority of people who remain at home. They were relying on relief, handout. Even in Dinka, okay, people will ask, Matar Beloin then, it is like the manna will drop from the sky. Now, those who were politicians and those who were soldiers, back to the liberation struggle. The soldiers were actually oriented, okay, to know nothing than fighting the Arabs. Because we need to go to the root causes. We cannot just come and start, blaming, and we want to make things to change overnight. Those soldiers were oriented. And you can see now even the debate between South Sudanese. Thank God, Abraham Awolich has moved even further than that level. He would have told me that I am a Judge Amar to silence me, because I wasn't Abraham. I was not in the liberation struggle. I came in 1992. So somebody who came in 1992 is always seen as an outsider. This is the debate back to Ethiopia then. Bill Farm and Bongo and you name them. Now, when the peace agreement was signed, and by the way, let me tell you this, I wasn't born yesterday. I am actually entering into my 60 years of age. Okay. The SPLM was formed on the 16th of May, 1983. 16th of May, 1983, I was 19 years old. I knew the whole history of Sudan, the ancient history of Sudan, and the modern history of Sudan, the colonization, and how the SPLA started as a political military organization that is aimed to liberate the people from marginalization. During those years, and you will agree with me later on, Ustaz Abraham, during those years, the debate was not allowed for reasons known to the leadership and known to everybody that was there. The debate was not allowed, and not even the debate, even airing out your grievances, even in a closed room, a room that is closed, and you are talking to the leadership or you are talking to the members of the SPLM, they will see you as an outsider, as a sellout, and you will even be faced with even death threat if you don't die. And that one continued for 21 years. Anyone who is lucky to remain alive have to be a senior army general or a senior SPLM member. When the peace agreement was signed in 2005, these are the people who took over the country. When they took over the country, Abraham, you listen to me correctly. When they took over the country, the issue of debate was not anywhere here. It has never been in Bilfam, it's not in Khartoum. It is neither at the people who are coming from Khartoum telling us that the political space has been narrowed, or even those who are coming from the refugee camps, the young men, those of Red Army like Abraham Awolich, who can tell us that the political space was ever existed in South Sudan. So anything you leave on it, it becomes a culture, my brother. So South Sudanese has now a culture of gossiping. People don't talk clearly. Even now, as we speak here, right directly, people are gossiping us because they are fearing the unknown. When people fear unknown, they become gossipers. They will not talk truth in public. And they will defeat all the laws that were supposed to regulate how a citizen can regulate the rights and the duties. Now, when peace agreement was signed in 2005 and the SPLM took over the country, the SPLM, instead of transforming from the military political organization into a political party that is capable of opening a new political dispensation so that the new beginning is start, and even try also at some point to even look at other leaders who were not part of the SPLM and the South Sudanese. It did not. Those of Pagana Mom, you know. Later on, I will tell you that how Salva Kiir is also a victim. He's even victimized. And that is why for somebody like me who stayed with them for 9 years, I feel pity sometimes. Because this guy, okay, has excellent ideas. Salva Kiir. Okay? And he's democratic. He wants any view to be actually heard. But the systems kept him like that. The system itself is even going against the President Kiir. Should we think that the President Kiir is South Sudan? Can we think that leadership, even when you mentioned the three SPLM guru who were actually complaining about how the leadership was being run, the leadership of the SPLM, it come to my mind like if they were thinking that Salva Kiir is the leadership. The leadership is including them. I believe if Salva Kiir was the one appointing people without even consulting them, okay, even the members of the current government, they would not even look like that now. Because Salva Kiir would have come out with a number of people that he think will be actually helping him to do the right thing. I'm coming to this point. I don't want this point to go away. 2005, and the SPLM did not organize properly, okay? Did not organize itself into a political party. And by the way, I say this in Juba, Awolich. I say this, okay? And this is where the loophole came. The communities organized themselves because the communities have to come on the expense of a political organization that has not managed to organize things. The community took over. Anybody in government is a member of his or her own community. Even a birthday party, okay? If your community is doing birthday party and you are a minister, you are bound to go. Because if you don't go, you will be irrelevant. Even when the appointments are made sometimes without community subscribing to it, they think that it is their man or their woman that is brought. That's why there are a lot of dancing in Freedom Hall and all this to celebrate those who are actually appointed. Now, you people wanted Salva Kiir alone to sit and account everybody. The accountability is collective responsibility. And this is where I disagree with those of Alew. If it is a collective responsibility, Alew was a governor of Warabi State, okay, a belligerent state that has been fighting itself. Did Alew provide the solutions? Did Warabi State became actually more stable at the time of Alena Yang than now? So Alew has his own failures as a leader of this country. Now, the issue of this cloudy thing, or Shirodi people, we think that they are actually governing the country. They are not governing the country. Okay? They got their space, and they should not be blamed, because all the members of the SPLM are only looking at the eyes of the President Salva Kiir to be the one accounting everybody. If someone is taken and you are put in prison simply because you have done 1, 2, 3, your community will move in. That, our man has been arrested. One time I wrote this article. I wrote this in my article, Abram. I said in South Sudan, if you commit crime, your community wanted, the communities in South Sudan, they don't want their men and women to be held accountable. They have to look for a foreigner to be a sacrificed lamb, so that they allow the rule of law to actually take its course. Now, when you look at what Alew was trying, the solution Alew was trying to provide, Alew was trying to tell people that something was wrong in the financial sector. but he was not prescribing to the solution. He did not say how the solution should be actually arrived at. And this is where some people like myself think when you talk about something which is not working, you must provide the way forward. Yes, it is not easy for a new Minister of Finance to manage all things alone without the input of the SPLM leadership. If we are to make sure that our finances are correctly administered, we need to be proactive, all of us. We shouldn't see a certain segment of society as the master of all. We have to come in and also participate in the process of making this country a working one. It will take time, and this is the last point I'm entering into it, so that I can leave the floor to you or to Ustaz Abram. South Sudan fought itself only 2.5 years of its independence. Why people were fighting? People were fighting about what? I have not seen, Abraham, up to now, I have not seen anybody fighting in order to make things better for the people of South Sudan. People are fighting in order to make things better for themselves. And that is why the agreement ended up in distributing positions. Now they have even introduced something which has never been in the life of any government in the whole world. The issue of revocation of the membership. Because the agreement, the revitalized peace agreement or resolution of conflict has created many powerhouses. It's not President Salva Kiir alone now, is the one holding power, by the way. Okay? And let us see the years. We will come later on to sit down to see whether the years of the revitalized peace agreement, which is now entering into the 5th year, okay, if they have done better than the 2011 to 2013 when the war erupted in the country. And let's see what happened. The powerhouses that created themselves as a result of the revitalized peace agreement, okay, are dividing things into themselves. Who they care? They want people to move between them. If you are not good with Salva Kiir, you run to Riek Machar. Okay? And Riek Machar will go and see if you are a cadre, if you think that you can actually help him properly, he can ask for revocation of a member of parliament that he has already made to be appointed. And you see the revocation. Sometimes the president is blamed, but it's not the president who is to be blamed. It is the 4 or 5 presidents, the other presidents of their own parties. If I go to Hussein Abdel Baghi as a leader of Sawa, or to Changson as a leader of the other faction of Sawa, and you think Ateny Wek is stronger than so-and-so B and Z, the B will be taken away from his position so that I am put there in a position. That is why even something is killing the political principle of the people of South Sudan. You cannot be moving between parties in order to be appointed, to get appointment. Now I tell you, okay, if somebody asks me from other parties that I should come to join them in order for me to be a vice president, I will say, shit, I don't need to be vice president. I need to continue with my dignity instead of just becoming a political prostitute, running between the parties, running up and down. Some people talk like now we are talking here, Ustaz Abraham Awolich, and tomorrow we will not know that we talk one time, and we don't know that, you know, what we say here is being stored. It doesn't go away. I have seen some people within 2013 up to 2021, up to 2022, okay, saying one thing, okay, differently, every time, different location. And it's one person. One person doing all this. You run to the SPLMIO, you say Salva Kiir Mayardit is a dictator. You go and run from IO You come back to the SPLM, I have come to the mother party. Who are you? Where are the political principles? You know he's a mother party and you run away from it. Why? Why a son ran away from a father? And tomorrow, when you come, you know, President Salva Kiir is too inundated with the number of people, the influx from other parties coming back. Some were not even known when the time before they rebelled. They were not even known. They are who? But simply because somebody was in IO and he was made a secretary of something during the Bush of the IO, he thinks people know him. If he comes to the SPLM, he must be received and given a position. If he is not given position, he will go back to another party. What is this? So I'm coming to the point that we as South Sudanese, we have a problem. And that problem, the earlier we address it, the better. We have a problem of not thinking on how to do things the way the whole world does things. We seem to be doing things and we seem to be having a definition of anything. Okay, we do it our own, not definition of anything, the way it is known. This is a very serious issue. That is why I thought the guys, the guys Ale was talking about, those guys, that they are taking money. Ya Jama, who doesn't like money? If there is anybody who is giving you check $10 million, okay, only come out from America, yeah? Because the American will not allow you to even transact more than $10,000 a time. One time I went to South Sudan. I came to South Sudan, and one of the good friends gave me $20,000. I converted them to sterling pound, and then they were around 14,000 sterling pound. When I landed in Heathrow Airport, and I declared them, of course. If I didn't declare them, I would have been in prison. I declared them, and that is why I spent 6 hours in the airport. 6 hours to convince people, what do I do with this money? So there's somebody who bishil guruj, zol bishil guruj, mushkila bataw shunu ya jama. That's all but you low ya mushkila. Into mushkila. Can let us ask who is giving the money? Now, from the beginning, they were not told, you businessmen, make sure that the government, the whole government in the world, it strengthens its own private sector. You can even inject money into market to make sure that the businessmen provide jobs to the people, good and service. Okay, but they have not been guided. Please, if you want to be a businessman or a businesswoman, okay, stop the issue of trying to make money through contracts. Make sure that you get into the market, okay, so that you control the market. They were not told, they were not guided. How do you expect them? Some of them did not have education, by the way, don't have even the primary certificate. And they are millionaires. What do you do with them? So they have chosen the type of business that is fit for them. And the problem comes to the point that we think that it is Salva Kiir to stop them. It is all of us to work to ensure that the accountability is the first thing that South Sudanese should do. This is what I see.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny. And to our viewers and our guests, permit me to welcome the Governor, Gerald Alena Yang. Welcome to Lagos State Media. And we really appreciate you being here with us. And you came at the right time. In fact, we were looking forward to give you a platform where you can talk to many South Sudanese and actually give meaning to the audio that went viral for the almost now 2 weeks. We are really happy that you join us. And in the studio here, we have Awolich, And we have Honorable Ateny, the former press secretary. I guess you know them. And thank you, welcome. And before I give you platform to give us your opening remark, there is one thing I want Awolich to talk about, and maybe let me give you a chance before Awolich because you are new. Yeah, Gerald Alena Yang, give us your opening remark before we ask you some few questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I greet everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Could you ask the governor to adjust his camera so that we can see his face fully?
That's the camera of the governor, ya Jama.
Aywa, best.
Thank you.
I'm not
Yeah,
part
that's
of
better.
this. I'm not part of this. I just got this on my screen and I followed until I came and got you people discussing something.
Which
So
is
I'm
good,
not prepared for it.
Which is
You
good.
can go ahead.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Governor. Is the most important thing is you joining for the citizens to see you. And what you said is true. We will arrange the show for you within this week, either Monday or Tuesday, so that you can come and talk specifically about your audio. Are you okay with that?
I've talked already. What do you want me to say again?
There are questions you want to clarify to the citizens. People are asking, in which forum did you say those words? And why did you speak after you were relieved? Those are the things you need to come and clarify to the public.
I've spoken already.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. You can listen, and if there is something that you feel like you want to respond, then you can let us know so that we can give you a chance and let the public know. Thank you. Yeah, Awolich, you have heard the response from Ateny Wek in regard to the schedule group that has been running the whole affairs of our country. He explained it in lengthy way. He started away from the genesis, how we liberated the country, and how some of government officials were working with the Khartoum government. And when they were working with the Khartoum government, some of them lose their ethics and integrity because they believe the system that they were working with is a system that actually marginalized their people. So they were not even mindful about the law or anything. So they carried the same spirit back to their country. Even after they have their own nation, they still practice the unethical behaviors which they used to do during the Khartoum regime. That's what he said. Kindly, what can you say about that?
Well, thank you very much, Brother Majong Makur. Yeah, there are a few things that Brother Ateny Wek have mentioned about the state of the political community of South Sudan, and I need to respond to them. First, Honorable Ateny has mentioned that South Sudan emerged out of a long war that has dispersed people to different parts of the world, and people acquired certain cultures, certain attitude and behaviors. He also mentioned the fact that the SPLA was a political military organization, and therefore political debates were not allowed. And so when the SPLA took over, the same culture continued. He also said that the SPLM was disorganized. They didn't take complete whole of the country, and so the communities actually organized themselves and took over the business and management of the political affairs in the country. He also said the shadowy group saw the opening, saw the gap in the way the country was run, and they basically took over. They basically took advantage of that situation. And so to him, the blame actually doesn't go to those business people. The blame should go to the people who are supposed to run the political affairs. In response, let me say this. First of all, we have become a country. And after we have become a country, we have to have an objective. We have to have a vision of what we need this country. We just didn't liberate the country so that we can sit and let things go the way they should. We should have a vision for what the country should look like. And we should use the government institutions and structures to transform people. We knew coming into this country that we had a large population that was uneducated. So we have to have educational policy to transform those people. We knew that we had refugees and IDPs living in different parts of the world, and therefore they have developed different perspectives. But it was our responsibility now to transform those people. And so while I agree with the Honorable Ateny that the country emerged out of this violent conflict and that people have acquired different behaviors, it was the sole responsibility of those who took over power to transform the society from a very violent society, from uneducated, underdeveloped, illiterate, to a more modern society whose behavior consistent with the vision that we want them to be. And we have not done that. And we should not, it is not a fault of the citizens, it's a fault of the government. And the president has always been in charge of that government. So that is one. Number two, it is true. The SPLM is an authoritarian military organization. There is no question about it. And I was in Juba when the SPLM political the constitution was being debated. And I remember Article 25K of the SPLM at that time had a provision which said the chairman of the party has the power to do anything to make sure that the party runs smoothly. I took issue with that provision. I said, this is a blank check. It could be used. In law, you don't give people blank check. You don't give blank power. And sure enough, it was that article that was cited when those of Pagan, when Pagan was suspended. So there is no dispute. The fact that the SPLM is an authoritarian organization and that they did not allow the debate to occur. But there was one thing that I knew is true of the SPLM. The SPLM had a vision and they were able to achieve that vision. And I have no reason to doubt that if we had continued with that vision, authoritarian as it may be, the society would have been transformed right now. And so I could say gladly that my argument has been strengthened and actually confirmed by the submission of Governor Honorable Ateny that the country is not being governed. That was exactly the message that I was trying to convey, that there is a shadowy group of people, the people who that we generally believe are running the country, which is the SPLM, are not running the country. They are not in charge. The communities, these shadowy business people and shadowy military and security personnel have taken over. They have seen the gap. And as far as the question of not blaming the business people, but the people who give them the money, I want to say that the people who give them the money are two. Is the president who appoints the minister that they want, because they want that minister to come so that he can come and write them checks. And then the minister himself who is appointed by them. So I don't even blame the minister. Because if these shadowy people go and lobby the president to appoint me so that I can come and write checks for them, then when I come to the office, I will write checks for them because that is my job. And so really, Honorable Ateny, I want to say this. One, that I am, and I was a supporter of the SPLM and its vision. And I stood behind the SPLM political leadership 100%. Whether they were authoritarian or not, at least there was a vision. We knew that we were going to a certain destiny. And in 2011, sure enough, we did go to that destiny. Two, I also believe that we would not have come to this destiny if Salva Kiir was not there. I give him that. He is a liberator, and his support to John Garang enabled John Garang to reach to this point, to get the country to become independent. So he deserved to become president. There is no debate on that. But what I believe is that he has failed as president. He didn't fail as a liberator, but he has failed as a president. And what you are describing is an anatomy of political leadership failure, that things are just running anyhowly. Nobody is in charge. The president should be in charge. He should hold people accountable. It is his job. The fact that community violence is allowed to go whatever the way they want, it did not happen during the SPLA, by the way. The SPLA would not allow this communal violence to go. They would suppress it immediately. So it is ongoing. Communal violence is ongoing. Politics is poorly mismanaged. Economy is not running. The societies are at each other's throat. There is chaos. Yet there is one person in charge consistently, and that is President Salva Kiir Mayardit. That is why we are saying the president has actually, this thing has gotten out of control in his hand. And as far as the comment on the question of the RRCs, yes, actually is a confusion. That's why I have come out to say that the RRCs has failed to bring peace and to bring the country where it needs to be. But let me say something, Honorable Ateny. The RRCs came with 5 vice presidents, not because the opposition wanted to be vice presidents, but because President Salva Kiir wanted to maintain the balance of power. The SPLM-IO, if I remember, they were either looking for the first vice president or for a prime minister. But because President Salva Kiir already had 2 vice presidents, that is Taban Dengai and Wanihiga, he didn't want to lose them. Because if he'd lose them, his political equation will not balance. So he decided to say, okay, I want to maintain my vice presidents. So you other groups bring the first vice president. This is where the other groups now decided that, okay, in that case, then we also want to have vice presidents. We are going to maintain your 2. Then we will not take this. So it was the government, not the opposition, that expanded the vice presidency to make it 5. This is not something I heard from other people. This is something that I knew. And so we should not complain about the fact that the power has been diffused. The power was diffused in an attempt to keep the power of President Kiir and to keep his political coalition together. And I'm aware of the fact that, yes, the agreement did make it difficult for the president to make unilateral decisions. And you were posing a question earlier to evaluate the years since the RRCs from 2020 to 2023, whether they are different from the years when President Kiir was alone. I would even extend that to say, could we look at the years from 2013 up to 2018 when Riek Machar was not in power? Have things been different? Absolutely not. Things have not been different, and the fact that these varied political cultures came to thrive and continue to thrive is because there is no one heading people into a direction that the country should go. So while I understand they believe that President Kiir is actually a good person. I believe that he's a good person. He's a wonderful human being. I agree with that. And I would not even subscribe to people who would say the President Kiir is not a smart person. He's extremely intelligent. I know that. But he is not governing. He is not governing. He is not asserting his authority as a president to pull the country together. He allowed himself to be overwhelmed by anger. In 2013, when he was in France and these people held a press conference, if he came back, and in fact, my prayer was, if the president come back, that he should not actually speak. He should be allowed to calm down. And thank God, although it was an unfortunate event, Nelson Mandela died that time, and the president was invited to go to the funeral of Nelson Mandela. And my prayer was that I hope the spirit of Mandela will fall upon our president to come back calm and peaceful. If the president came back calm and peaceful in 2013, violence would not have occurred. He felt that his authority was challenged, he was angry, and he wanted to get back to his opponents, and thereby allowing the agenda of people who want to perpetuate violence to overcome him. And he championed that cause. That is why he gave that bellicose. He gave that bellicose statement in Nyakuren Cultural Center, which triggered the violence. This is not to say that the other group is free from violence. Of course, there were elements on the other side who were advocating for violence, but the president gave them the opportunity by not taking charge of the situation and diffusing the situation at that time. So the argument that we are making is that these people who are running the country, including these people who are looting the resources of the country, do so under the watch of the president. I have never issued any decree. Ateny Wek never did. We have given our wise counsel together. One of the things that I served the president diligently was through his initiative of the National Dialogue. And people actually came in response to the president and they spoke. And Governor Leo is one of them. He spoke truthfully in Wow. But then the president himself failed to implement his own vision, thereby angering people like myself. And so Honorable Ateny, yes, those things that you have mentioned are true. The party is in an extremely distasteful state of dysfunction. As I speak to you, it's a distasteful dysfunction. The government is I would say is paralyzed, is in the state of paralysis because of the peace agreement. And the country is not at peace. The Equatorians are so bitter and angry. The Nuers are so bitter and angry. The Dinkas are so bitter and angry. Whose responsibility is it to pull this country together? At least the President Kiir should recognize that he is still the president, and it is his responsibility to pull the country together, which is why, even though I'm opposed to his policies, I have said he is the one that should call people for a political roundtable, pull the country together so that you can break this deadlock over the RRCs and move the country to a new stage. But both parties, both the president and the opposition, cling to this agreement because it gives them the legitimacy to power. And so your point is taken that many people are fighting for power and position. you can count me out. Because up to now, I can assure you, I have not made my mind whether I really want to get into politics. I have not made my mind. For now, I am simply an activist as I speak to you. Because there is no politics to be practiced in South Sudan as I talk to you. So anyway, let me stop there. There is more that could be said, but the bottom line is that we really need to stop this nonsense. We really need to stop this craziness happening in the country. And if the people in the SPLM are not willing to govern, they should tell the people of South Sudan, if they want to govern, let them sit down and move the country to peace. If they are not willing to govern, that's why I'm calling people to have a popular uprising so that they can be kicked out, so that we can start on a clean slate and begin to hold these people accountable. In my letter in response to Governor Elew, and thank God, even though he did not speak, he said something important. He said he has already spoken. And he is not withdrawing his statement, which means he meant to speak. And therefore, we are justified to continue to talk about whether he was right or wrong. But I recommended that some of these things, when people speak, they should be investigated so that people are exonerated who are wrongly accused, or they are held to account if they are actually found to be guilty. That is my position. So thank you very much. There is more to come.
Thank you so much, Abraham Walich, for your response to Honorable Ateny.
I have
Honorable
something,
Ateny, I will
a little bit correct something.
Okay, then I'll give you 2 minutes because of time to clarify something, and thereafter I will ask you another questions.
Okay. Yes. What I wanted to correct, I have actually seen and listened carefully to how eloquently Brother Abram highlighted facts about the issues we are debating here. But one thing was not correct. I did not say the country did not have the leadership. I did not say like that. What I said, given the culture of the people, okay, through which they make the leader to govern. Okay, President Salva Kiir has even become a victim of our own practices as South Sudanese. By the way, let me tell you this. For me, who have been with President Kiir for 9 years, if there is a need for him to be the only one doing decisions, I will even go for that. I will approve that. Because when he gives something to people to do, it becomes even worse than what he could have even done himself. First, even when the National Liberation Council was organized, he did not meet the requirement of how the National Liberation Council would have been organized. Because, SPLM has done convention for the first time in its history in 1994. And in 2008, it did the second one after 14 years. And up to now, it did not do any organization. Okay. First, it is not anybody who knows anywhere in South Sudan. People who are selfless should be the one in the committee to determine, okay, the political geography of South Sudan. Even the SPLM, okay? Like now, if I wanted to recommend someone from a Liap area, okay, I only know Abraham Awolich, I know Permina Werial, Along, who was with me in London, okay? Maybe Achol Abelagwap, with his brother Taban Ablagok. My enumeration of how many political leaders in a community like Aliap will be very limited to 3 or 4. How can I be in a committee? How would I know actually who is who? There are people who think for themselves and they become selfish on doing it. Now there are places completely they are not they are not members of the political bureau. They are not members of the National Liberation Council. They are waiting for the reorganization from the grassroots. And this was done by people, not President Kiir doing it. President Salva Kiir is doing his best to ensure that this country see the light of the day. But he has not been given that momentum actually, because people, president are humans. In history, Pharaoh of Egypt was made, by the way, to be dictator by its people. The Pharaoh of Egypt used to kill people actually. He was ruthless to the point that whenever you say something out of law, he will kill you without even explanation. Then the wise men thought we should go to the king, the Pharaoh, so that we tell him that you are the creator, and a creator should not be killing his own people. They came and told him exactly the same way I told you, that Pharaoh, you are the one creating people. Okay? At first, he was seeing people are flattering him. But when it was sunk several time and again, he accepted to the point when he made a rally, he tell people, when I created you, I didn't create you to be the same people. You are different in thinking. And then the wise man goes back and asking, is it true that Pharaoh is the creator? We told him to be the creator. People tell you to be the dictator. People tell you to be the creators at some point. So I'm talking about the way people are actually think should actually happen in South Sudan. Yeah, there are people who are thinking that South Sudan is a milking cow. Okay? But when you talk like the way Leo actually talked, okay, he will be actually finding himself being being disliked by many people within some communities. Okay? Now, let me exit from here. The leadership I was talking about is the collective leadership, because I think South Sudan cannot move without its own people moving together. Okay? Like, for instance, the opposition, which has now become part of government, okay, should continue until we go for election. If there's no election next year, if the election is not conducted, okay, then we will have a say. We will talk about the future of the country. How can the country continue like this without elections? There must be election, presidential elections, coming down to gubernatorial, coming down to commissioners, and everybody that's supposed to be elected. Now, Abraham was talking about somebody from parliament that actually disclosed some information about how the budget was passed. Okay? That person, in spite of his prominence, would not have even won election if he was to go for election. He's also fearing election. So why are they not coming up to tell the president that we won the election? The president now is the one saying, I won the election. I mean, some people are murmuring down. They say the election should not be done comes 2024. So now there are people preaching to make sure that the election is sabotaged so that we continue like this, to continue the status quo. Okay? Financial practices, there is one thing the SPLA soldier said. And I heard this, by the way, from His Excellency, the President, as one of the stories. He is actually storytelling. He said they were taken for a workshop. And the workshop was actually talking about corruption. Then a soldier asked, what is the meaning of corruption? He was told. He said, it is you people who love it to be like this. You know, last time when he was still a kitten, like a child of cat, when it was still a kitten, okay, you let him grow, you let the corruption grow. Now he has become a monster. He's a very big lion. Nobody can even kill it again. You know, the reason is people need to exactly adapt to the culture of democracy. By the way, I'm telling you, if someone who has not adapted himself or graduated from this dark corner of not saying thing was here, it would have ended up as an insult. People will be actually insulting themselves for no good reason. They don't know that people can debate. Like the debate we are doing now, we are not doing it for ourselves, we are doing it for the nation. So, Mr. Abraham, you said you did not make your mind to be, you know, if you wanted to be a politician or not. I think you have already entered into politics. Yeah, you have entered into politics. The only problem is that how far do you want to take your politics to? But otherwise, you have become a politician already. Even you are even
By virtue
writing
of
documents.
you.
No, it's not by virtue. I am not. You know, one question was asked by tweet. No, by the SSBC. I was asked if the youth will be having challenges, and what are the challenges? I said one of the big challenges is the fact that there's nobody leaving politics, nobody leaving it. And I said, like now, even in the Western world, I am remaining with 5 years in Britain to retire once and for all, because 65 you cannot go to public work again. But I am now beginning in South Sudan. I'm beginning. I have not yet even begun the political position. I did not have it. So I'm beginning at 60. Okay. So next 20 years, you will still see me actually as a politician, active politician.
And you will be more vibrant and more active than now.
Yeah.
And you will be more active and vibrant than now.
In the next 20 years, I will be 80 years old, politician. And maybe when I am 80 years, I will be a minister also, or a prime minister or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. The hope goes up because South Sudan doesn't work, doesn't give regard to age. That is why anybody think, you know, there's nowhere we are going because we are all there to stay. So I am not saying that the country doesn't have the leadership. The country has a leadership. And I disagree with my brother Abraham when he says that things fall out of President Salva Kiir's hands. Things did not fall out of his hands. Salva Kiir wants you to bring your hand so that he can govern properly. Last time, when you actually said you expressed your disagreement with the article in Article 25 in the party of the SPLM Constitution, the same late John Jok, who was the chairperson for the reviewing of the Constitution in 2011, was the one who wrote the Constitution. And he came and disagreed with the Constitution, even to the point of joining what was called political detainees. The Article 101, ABC up to you, he was the one who framed them. President Kiir is not a lawyer. President Kiir has not asked anybody to give me powers. But those who were asked to do the Constitution put more powers than what the president was even needing. So it's not a problem of President Salva Kiir. This is what I want to say as my exit point from here, so that I wait for your next question.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny, for clarifications in regard to the response of Abraham Awolich. In your response article to Abraham Awolich, remember You debated a lot, and you wrote forth and back. You said there is something that you mentioned, and we really need you to deliberate on it.
Uh-huh.
You said both Abraham Wolich and Governor Alena Yang were in Juba when the looting was happening. Are you telling us that they were part of the looting, or you are saying that they are now speaking, identifying what is wrong in the system simply because they are no longer in the system? We really need clarification on that. Thank you.
No, I didn't talk about anybody. I didn't talk about them being part of the looting. Okay, I said in the article, and I have already exit from that point. I said Abram was in Juba and Aleo is still in Juba. Okay, and the things happened very long time ago, but I haven't seen them airing them in the public. Abram responded convincingly by saying that if you don't talk now, it doesn't mean that you don't talk forever. Isn't it, Abram? And that point, when I come to the debate, I come to debate with open mind, to give and take also. I don't come just blankly, just to close my mind and that I don't want to learn from anyone. So I think that point was settled. If there is any other good questions, you can even move on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It has really served our time. And we'll move to the general questions, of which two of you are required to put your thoughts on that. In regard to his audio, many people, especially the oppositions and those who are not contented with how the affairs of the nations are being run, has taken the whole context to be like the Jiang as a tribe in that country is the problem to South Sudan. Kindly, Abraham Wolich, I will begin with you because you don't agree with how the affairs of the country is being run, and this is what the opposition are saying, and some tribes within South Sudan, that it is one of the Dinka men that has come out clearly and confirmed it to the public that Dinka people are the problem to the government of South Sudan. That the one looting, that the one killing, and the one doing all the manners of bad things in the country. And that is why, actually, to echo on what Honorable Ateny said earlier, that's why many people have taken much of their effort to translate the audio to different languages so that many people will get to know exactly who are the problem in South Sudan, and for them to justify that this is what we have been saying, that Dinka is a problem to this country. Now listen to their own fellow man. Kindly, Abraham Wolich, what can you say in regard to that?
Thank you very much, Brother Majuk, for that question. I think it is a good question and one that needs to be tackled. First of all, I don't subscribe to the idea of expressing national affairs in ethnic terms because there is no solution to that. You could never say a certain group of people are governing the country. It doesn't work that way. Because there was never a meeting of the whole ethnic group to to run the country in that manner. But as you know, when we were part of the Sudan, the people who dominated the political space in the Sudan are people that we quote unquote call the Arabs. And I have said it in my own mouth here that the Arabs are the problem of the Sudan. It therefore goes that the political space in South Sudan is dominated by the Dinka ethnic community. This is true. The president of the republic is a Dinka man. The defense minister right now is a Dinka man. The inspector of the police, the minister of interior has not yet been appointed. The chief justice is a Dinka man, obviously, and of course the finance docket, as I have outlined in my docket, of the 11 ministers that we have heard, and I don't count Gabriel Changson because he was just a caretaker minister. 9 of them have been people of Dinka ethnic community. And if you know, in a very poor country, and of course the Nile Pad, which is also another government institution that generate revenue, is also run by people of the Dinka ethnic community, the security institutions. So really, it must be admitted publicly, whether by design or by accident, that the Dinka society, as we speak, it didn't start that way. But after independence, and more specifically after the 2013 conflict, the political space is dominated by the Dinka people. And so therefore, the other South Sudanese are justified to say that the country is dominated by these people. I think that is a just cause. That is an accusation that has some truth in it. Now the problem is this: if you express grievances in terms of ethnicity, what is behind that is violence, and it doesn't help the country. It is the same thing when some of the Dinka people would say Riek Machar, is rebel because he's a Nuer. It doesn't work that way because you don't reach the solution. I prefer to say that we have a systemic issue. The system that we have created has failed us, and that is why I agree with Honorable Ateny that because the political organization failed, communities took over, and so things are expressed in ethnic terms. Even within the Dinka themselves, there is a general belief that the Dinkas of Barghazal, are the ones dominating politics. And there is an element of truth to it, because the people who influence the president to make certain decisions, majority of them come from that area. These illiterate, semi-illiterate business people, majority of them are people of Barghazal. Ateny Wek and myself, who have served the president, even though I did not serve him in any official capacity, but I came in at their request, he and Honorable Mayig, and I'm grateful to them. I came in to give advice. That opportunity was not available to someone else. And Ateny was right when he said that for him to become a press secretary, he's not the best candidate for South Sudan as a whole, but he had the opportunity. And
Yeah.
I agree with him. God designed things, and your opportunity comes as God wishes. But we have governed in a manner that reflects that we are ethnocentric. We are encouraging this ethnic domination, and the time has come for us to walk back from this. That is why I said in no uncertain terms that the president really need to do some work to pull the country together. And when he initiated the national dialogue, that was the right thing to do. You have to bring the together. But now, knowing what Honorable Ateny is saying, that the institutions of governance are not helping the country, this is why it is so important right now to recreate that political consensus in the country. The country is divided, so we need to recreate political consensus by initiating a political dialogue. And the difference between political dialogue and peace agreement is that the political dialogue doesn't talk about power. The political dialogue talks about social relations. How do we are aspiring to be this type of people? But the peace agreements that we have seen are dominated by political actors whose end goal is to become something, not to change something. And we must break that. And so the responsibility is on us. The Dinkas are the majority in the country. And by their sheer numbers, they will be the majority. But there is a small difference. They intend to dominate, and the domination simply because you have the majority. These are two different things. They intend to dominate, would use certain language, and we have seen this language being used. For example, they say, the Equatorians didn't fight during the war, and therefore they should keep silent forever. Or the Nuer have been Anyagat, they have been running in and out. We should stop using those languages and be genuine in our desire to govern as a people of South Sudan by being fair to one another and giving voice to those who feel that they are marginalized. Marginalization doesn't happen intentionally. It happens when you consistently begin to make decisions that marginalize others. And over time, they will fall so far away from the original idea of being members of the society to feeling bitter. And I think we have reached that point right now, and the time has come for us as a country to step back and to say we should not continue in this direction. We really need to birth a new spirit in the country. And that is why I came to understand when they say that they have signed an agreement in a letter and a spirit, actually it is the spirit that is more important than the letter, because the spirit is about the heart and the psyche of the people. So I feel that the idea that we can express disagreements in a political community in ethnic terms is dangerous for the country, and we should stop it. But we must also acknowledge that these views are generated by what is seen. The way we are governing the country, we have dominated as a community without question, and we should stop it if we want to hold this country together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abraham Wolich, for that. I will come back to you to give us what is the difference between the bad governing system of a certain country and the dominant ethnic group of that country. What is the relation of the two? Dinka could be dominant, but the challenges of governance system in the country could be different thing, or are they the same thing? Once the ethnic group is dominant, will it cause the bad governance system or what? I will come back to you for that. Let me go to Honorable Ateny. Kindly 3 minutes or 5 minutes for that matter because of the time. Can you give us your wisdom on that? That people are saying Dinka is the problem to the issues of South Sudan.
Yes,
Kindly,
first of
the
all,
chance is yours.
yeah, first of all, like Awolich, I don't subscribe to ethnicity because I didn't apply to be Dinka. You are proud of things you apply for. I am proud to be an SPLM member because that membership, I can do without it. I can also resign from it. Like when I saw Peter Biarajag was resigning, and Abraham Awolich has also resigned from the SPLM.
I didn't. You are assuming.
You did. Okay. But the
Sure,
the
go
other
ahead,
guy.
yeah.
Okay. I am not proud of being Dinka because it wasn't my choice. It was a choice of Almighty God. So I think when we talk about the domination of a certain tribe and how it is relayed by others, I am always shocked because they are not even saying it the way that is free even from ethnicity. You cannot use, if there is a debt in the house, you will use the broom to sweep the dirt out. But if you come with a more dirt on the top of the floor without using the broom, then you are not providing any solution. I cannot also think that the Dinka are dominating. The reason is, first, when we were talking about Arabs, Ustaz Awolich, when we were talking about Arab marginalizing the people of Sudan. We were talking about the Arabs from the north, northern Sudan. Northern Sudan not opposed to southern Sudan, because southern Sudan is started from that area of Abyei coming down here. That's not what I mean. The Arab from north, we are talking about the real north. That started from Shendi in the north, to Adbara, to Halfa. That a small link, that small beacon, running from north, from Khartoum to southern Egypt. These are the people who govern Sudan since independence. And they have come to the point of making their policies to ensure they continue to govern Sudan. That is why Sudan is fighting as we speak. The people who are fighting in Sudan now are all Arabs, for those who don't know it. Imeti is an Arab born in the wrong place. Abraham. He should have been born in Shendi or Adbara or Hafa or Marawi, so that he complete his being Arab. But he was born in the wrong area. That's the problem. The Arabs, if you ask them, are you the one dominating the country? They will not tell you no. They will tell you no, we are not dominating. Yes, like domination sometimes happen without knowing, but this one was intended one. Because if you look at the first government of Ismail al-Azhari, there were 11 people. 11 people were all from north. No west, no east, no south, no center. Okay? Then, when General Ibrahim Aboud came on the 17th of November 1958, in order to change things, his military council was comprising of 13, okay, all from north. It is the government later on, when he formed the government, that he brought Santino Deng to represent the whole of South in the Ministry of Animal Production, or Animal Wildlife, or Animal and Livestock Ministry. Then Aboud continued until he was thrown out of power by the popular uprising on the October 21st, 1964. And Sir Khatim Khalifa came as a caretaker governor of Sudan for 1 year, until Sadiq al-Mahdi came through the election. And Sadiq became even more bold on how to kill others who are not Arabs. Now, for those who say the Dinka are dominating, they are just using a wrong term, okay? Or they are using a wrong term for a right reason. Because the Dinka, during the liberation struggle, they went as volunteers like any other. And because in army, in order for somebody to be a general, like General Elena Yang, you just count Elena Yang when he rebelled, when he joined the struggle, he was already having 2 stars. Okay, so he continued until he became general. Now, by default, the Dinka volunteers found themselves outnumbering other ethnic group, and it was not by design. The marginalization in Khartoum was designed to continue like that, but this one was not designed. Now, given how things are actually done, 10 people, if they are eating with 2 people, the 10 people will eat more than the 2. That is what happened actually. If you look at those who have and those who don't have, the Dinka outnumber people in both ways. Those who have, the Dinka are more, and those who don't have, the Dinka are also more. There are no any other ethnicities that are begging in the street of Juba. It is only Dinka, Ustaz Awolich. I have went to the shopping several times, and when I come to get into my car, I will see a Dinka woman begging and will be speaking Dinka. This is also the reality that some other people need to also understand. The same people who have most privileges, privileged men and women who have, they are also having the least and the underdog members of their community. The statistics of what is called a property survey makes Northern Barghazal as the forest state, followed by Warabi state. President Kiir come from Warabi state, okay? But he did not take the money from government to Warab so that Warab becomes the richest state in South Sudan. That tells us exactly what is happening. The Dinka are not sitting that we must marginalize the other. So I think those from other ethnicities who are trying to actually express their grievances should do so. But they must also be careful, because they will also be seen to be ethnic, to be furthering ethnicity. Okay? For example, I cannot be convinced by a Moro man that the Moro is better than Dinka, or the Dinka is better than Bari, or Bari is better than Nuer. I cannot be convinced, because all of us find ourselves there. So the best thing is, let them address the issues instead of just saying the Dinka is dominating. The Dinka has not set to plan on how to marginalize others. That's what I can say as a point.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny. To our viewers, Governor Honorable Alena Yenya Lew is here. Governor, is there anything that you...
By charging, yeah? I want to charge the computer because it wants to go off. Yeah.
Yes, Governor, is there anything that you want to share with the viewers before we wind up with our show? Because the show, we have been here for 2 hours now, and we are left with some few comments and remarks while we will be closing. If there is anything that you want to add to our conversation, then you are welcome. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Governor. Unmute your mic. Yeah, there is mic. The mic on your phone, unmute it. Because you are muted now, we are not hearing you. Yeah, Governor, are you hearing me? There is a small mic. There is a small mic on your phone with a cross on it. So can you click that so that you can unmute yourself? Yeah, there is a small mic.
Well, okay. Is struggling? No, the governor is struggling with the network. The network.
There is a small mic, Governor, on your left hand side. Yes. Thank you.
Is it okay?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you.
I would like to thank the host, Mr. Majok, Young Mabior. Frankly, I've never heard of Lagos State Media. I just stumbled on you people talking. And strange enough, it was Dr. Awolich with Ateny Wek debating. So I didn't know that you saw me on your on your screen. I was just trying to listen to what the two are saying. Well, I'm satisfied that the two have no differences after all. They both agree that there is corruption, and even Ateny calls it a monster. It grew up into a monster in our presence. Like me, I don't deny that. I don't isolate myself
No, I
from
was
what had
reflecting on
happened.
what.
I've been a part of the system from the day one, and if there is to be accountability, I think I'll not be out of what had taken place in South Sudan. So what I would like to underline here is just very simple. The things I said are the things that exist and everybody knows them. It's only that I've aired them out, but everybody was saying all this. Even Ateny himself in his own private places talks about it. After all, I wouldn't believe that Ateny would differ with Awolich on these issues of how we are governing this country, because I thought they were great friends. And even the day your warrant was released, Dr. Awolich, I stumbled on Ateny in Palm Tree Hotel, I think. He greeted me and then he told me, come and greet my friends. Well, when I entered, I didn't see you, but all the secretariat or members of your the dialogue group were inside. They included Dr. Meding, Maniam, and I think there were about 4 people. But I knew that there was
And
warrant
Dr.
out for your arrest. There was another 4th person. So I greeted them, and then I went out. And when I heard that you were wanted, I felt that maybe you were hiding in that hotel under your friend's protection. And actually, even a rumor came out that it was Ateny who smuggled you out, that took you to the UN airport.
That's the rumor targeting me, actually.
I'm not targeting you. These were the things that were being said. So when I saw you people talking, I didn't see that there were any difference between you. We all agree that there's something wrong. Now, as a liberator and a political commissar in the movement, I was taught to believe that revolution, people do not go for revolution because a certain general is angry or a president is angry. There must be subjective and objective conditions that can force people to take up arms or to ask for a revolution. They exist in Southern Sudan, like they existed in the autonomous South Sudan when we took up arms. We were not following John Garang or following Konatem or Gaitut. Everybody has his own grievances with the system. And that's how all we converged and when we organized ourselves, because the subjective conditions that Khartoum was dangerous for us. The Arabs were not good people. There are so many subjective conditions. They were one time slave masters. That can make you hate a certain ethnic group, and especially when they are in power. Objective conditions are economic situation of the people are which they exist now. Now, for instance, there is a stagnation. There is no development. There are no schools. There are no health centers. These are objective conditions that any conscious citizen can fight to get these rights. You cannot be stagnated while you see others moving so fast. Now, for us, who liberated this country and have been in it for all these years, we did not actually take up arms only for the Arabs to go. No. Even now that the Arabs have gone, we still have issues that we took up arms still with us here. Marginalization did not go with the Arabs. So we still have a problem of illiteracy. We still have a problem of health. All things that constitute a good living do not exist. Those are enough as objective conditions for anybody to ask himself. Now, I was asked a certain question: why are you talking up now when you did not talk before? I don't think if anybody knows my history, I've always been talking. To the extent even I lose my membership of the movement one time. Because what I see as the truth, I always say it. And I thought that you were of that sort also. Now, taking advantage of me now, of what I said, to be arguing in such a way that to excite the authority, to take measures on me, will never hold water. You have your own problems that you must handle. Ateny liberation is not over. I know the president is a good man, and both of you all agree he's a good person, but some people took advantage of him. And at least I will talk to you about two groups who are responsible for all our problems. And I've already mentioned them in my last speech. The enemies we identified when we were fighting, and they were embodied in our manifesto, were the bourgeoisie and bourgeoisified elites. Who are the bourgeoisie? These are business cartel. And we came from the bush, and we know they are our real enemies. Should we allow them to thrive among us? Likely we are still going to have a problem, because they would be eating the biggest part of the cake in a liberation where they never even participated. The other group was a group created by the transitional government. When we went to Khartoum for 5 years, and then the kind of relation that existed between the SPLM and the National Congress, when we broke away, the National Congress came with clear directives from their bosses that they must infiltrate the SPLM and actually become the most important people in it. And they did it. Actually, they differ from us. When we came from the bush, we have liberated ourselves, and we were free, and there was freedom of speech, especially after Moye Sukun. There was a lot of freedom in the bush. But when we met with these brothers in the SPLM, those who came from Motamar Watani, this is where the problem started. They think they are the most loyal people to the president. They don't even see his face. They sometimes even kiss his hand or his foot, which liberators who came from the bush do not do. So they elbowed themselves into a position where they have elbowed out the liberators. And it is not too late. We just need to talk out. I may differ with Awolich I don't know what is the method of his liberation now. What kind of would it be an arm? I've heard that he never joined the other group, but probably he believes that this situation here can be changed without necessarily shedding blood of anybody. So I was prompted to say this because I know it is not dangerous to anybody, but facts must be shown. This cartel is very dangerous, and we know them very well. And they happen to come from my own tribe. And for instance, let us take the issue of the roads. If Bol can transfer can transfer the money for the roads for building now a complex, a mall, which is believed to be going to be the biggest mall in Africa, in the place that used to be home and away, and then why should people keep quiet? If you can use the money that were meant for the road, even for calling that conference we went in, organizing that thing for the SPLM, that money didn't come from the coffers of the government. He was the one who paid that money. And then if you can pay that, where did he get that money? It is the money for the roads that he has diverted for political activities. And these are the reasons why we are talking out. And I'm sure even if yourself, you will not support that. Now, for you to tell me that I've been in the system and I have no right to say this and this, what is secret in Southern Sudan? There's nothing. We see everything. If some members in the office of the president can even conceive a very big project going up to 52,000 without the president knowing it, like the palace being built here, and he went even to mess up the president by even including the children of the president in the contracts, in the subcontracting. These such people who do such things are the people we are fighting. Now, like when Bolmil says that, he's making the road and he chased away the Chinese, and he said he would be continuing with the road up to Wau, to Kwajok, to Awil. If he goes and he start the road from the village of the president, leaving the rest behind, can we keep quiet? He's actually messing up the president. He's messing the president, and you have the guts even to protect him? That's not correct. It is our duty actually to protect the president. That is what has been taught to us in the bush. He is my president, he is my commander-in-chief, and I will protect him from the bourgeoisie and the bourgeoisified elites that have infiltrated the movement. That's my contribution, at least. If it were, I was not prepared for this. But hearing this, I don't think you have any differences. All that we need to say that the president always goes with the majority. If they know that if people air out what we feel is not correct, he will change. We do not need to remove him, but he has to listen to the voice of the people. And we should not allow these security organs that were trained for 5 years by Salah Ghosh to gang up with the businessmen, and then they have actually taken the president hostage. Now, actually, who is the head of the security here? He's Tut. And you know him, and you know his background. And now he's the one in charge of our own security. Do you think a real revolution who fought and that suffered in the bush can allow this to happen? We will talk out. At least this is a small contribution I can add. Otherwise, Dr. Awolich, yours was an open letter. You did not actually address it to me. That's why I kept quiet for this period. I did not answer it because it became something for the consumption of the people of Southern Sudan, like what I did. Otherwise, constructive, not saying a lie, but saying the truth. Truth will liberate us more than a Kalashnikov at this stage of our liberation. And there is no way we can help our people until we say the truth. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Governor Alena Yang Aleu, for giving those remarks and actually reaffirm your positions in regard to the viral clip or audio rather that went viral for the last 2 weeks now. Governor, you have mentioned 3 points which are very vital. You said we can change South Sudan without even shedding blood. And you said to Honorable Ateny that second liberation is still on, which means you are telling citizens that South Sudan is not yet liberated economically. We must be free economically for us to be viable and for us to be respected in the region. Thank you so much for being honest. And you have said before you are not aware of Lagos State media, That is very true. Lagos State Media is online media, and we also have team in Juba that always bring guests and people of opinions to come and share their thoughts with the fellow South Sudanese. And now, while you are speaking, many people tune in and they were listening to the two guests that we invited before. And then while you join us, actually the number increases. We were at 500 viewers who were watching before, and now it's still ahead going on. And you said correctly that you are not prepared to come and talk, of which we agreed with you. And as a Lagos State Media, we are looking forward to contact you and bring you on your only show where you will speak to the people of South Sudan. And we will ask some of the few questions in regard to your audio, in regard to your position, in regard to what liberators like you believe in the affairs of our country. Thank you so much, and we'll continue contacting you so that we can also host you and you can complete your engagement with your fellow South Sudanese. Before we close the show, I will give chance to each one of three of you to give his or her closing remark before we end our show. And I will start with Abraham Awolich.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Majok Makur, and to the listeners and the people of South Sudan in general. And I want to appreciate my brother Ateny Wek for joining me in this discussion, and how grateful I am that Governor Aleu came out to speak on his own behalf. You have spoken, General, in no uncertain terms. And that is why I'm in full agreement with you that if our country has been taken over by some dark forces who are running the country in the shadow, we are fully responsible to expose those people and to stop those activities. I also believe that this country needs healing. The country is divided, is in a terrible shape, and the president has allowed these things to happen. He should be held responsible, and that our party, which is the ruling party, and this was the basis of my argument, is not in charge of the country. And I know this because I had spoken to the people who are the leaders of the SPLM. I spoke to them, and I know what their sentiment is. They have lost control of the system. System is running contrary to what they believe. So the challenge that we are facing now is that once we speak like this, there has to be a way forward. And in my view, the way forward is that the country need to do a soul searching. People need to talk. People need to regenerate political consensus. And we need to weed out and hold this shadowy group responsible. Because if we continue to hide the truth, and if we continue to support our leaders blindly without questioning some of the decisions that they make, and if we continue to ignore the cry of the other ethnic communities, the minorities who feel that they are being marginalized, then we are not being responsible. We have to admit the fact that there are issues happening in the country. Those issues are our responsibility to fix, and that the future that we want is a future that must address the aspiration and the dreams of all the people of South Sudan. I feel terrible to live, and I also call myself a liberator, although I was not in the line of fire as Governor Aleu was, partly because of my age. But I was fully subscribed to the ideals of the liberation. I feel ashamed to live in that country that we liberated. And there are many people who feel that they are marginalized, that they have been sidelined, that their objectives for which they supported the liberation are not met. And that I believe the entire rural South Sudan is angry with the urban South Sudan. because we have consumed everything in Juba, and we have given the people who liberated this country, my own parents who gave birth to me and gave me up for the cause of the liberation, they didn't get anything. There is nothing other than me being alive. They have not been rewarded with the services for which they supported the government and the liberation struggle. And so the question comes back to us: where do we go from here? I feel that where we need to go from here is Governor Leo and those in the SPLM who liberated this country. If you feel that the president has been taken away from you, you go back to the basic. Pull the country together. The country is falling apart right now. Do not write to an election. Call for political dialogue first. Bring citizens who are in despair, who are outside the country, to the dialogue, and let us then unite the country, achieve peace, and now move toward the election. I think if we do this, it is possible to hold those who are holding the president hostage responsible. If we do this, we are able to save our country from falling apart. So that is what I believe. I think that accountability is important, and accountability begins with somebody saying something is wrong, Ajama. And then the next step is taken, an investigation is done, and when it is established that something is actually wrong, then actions are taken that are consistent with the future that the people of South Sudan desire. So I want to stop here, and I want to inform you, Governor Aleo, that I believe in nonviolent action. I believe that we can talk about this. We don't have to shoot out about this. We don't really have to take up guns. We can talk about this. And I have seen how we have talked during the national dialogue. People can talk. People of South Sudan are brave. They are honest. They will talk. But talking is not enough. There has to be a political will. And if President Kiri is unwilling or unable to provide that political will and that political leadership, the time has come even to say, Mr. President, the time has come, you have served. You have to step aside. Maybe the time is for General Aleo, maybe the time is for Rin Twin, maybe the time is for Ateny Wek. Maybe. Maybe the time is for Thomas Chirilo or Pagana Mom or even Lamakol or Riek Machar, for that matter, if you want. Although President Kir and Riek Machar, the time is over for them. The time has come for a new generation of leaders to take over. This is not to say they don't deserve to be leaders. They deserve to be leaders. Why not? They are South Sudanese, they liberated the country, but they have not governed to our expectations. So the time has come even to question that, even to question whether if we are able to bring President Kir back to the SPLM control and not the control of the cartel, can he provide the political will and the political leadership that is needed? I think he doesn't have the will and the political leadership that is needed at this moment. His time for serving his country was perfect during the liberation struggle, and it was perfect during the referendum. But up to this point, I think it is time to begin to question that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Abraham Awolich, for your remark in regard to the discussions of today. Before I come to Honorable Ateny, there is one of our guests also on Clubhouse. I'll give him a minute to give word of appreciation to three of you, and especially the Governor, Aleo. I yield it back to Abraham.
Okay, thank you. Sister Giziola, open your mic and go ahead. Siola is one of our co-hosts in Clubhouse.
Yes, I just want to tell the audience that if you guys have any questions, please raise your hand and come up. We'll bring you so you can ask your questions. Welcome to the.
Try to be audible so that our guests can hear you clearly.
Okay, if we're not asking right now, so you can tell us what is the next step then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, Moranyar, do you have something to say? Only 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute to Comrade Wal down.
No, I was coming to last question. If it's not last question, then that's okay. I can just
Okay, so we will do part 2 next round, so you guys can ask your question. Waldau.
No, thank you, brother Jack. And just my greeting to General Leo, Awolich, and Ateny Wek. This is their day. I will not say much. We will talk later on when they will debate there. We'll contribute afterward. Let them have time.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this show we designed it as for the only guests, but we are not open for public. But you guys can analyze after the show. But the next part 2 will be scheduled, and we will allow you guys to ask your question to the guests. So I will yield my microphone back to you, Major Marco. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abraham Adit. And thank you so much to South Sudanese on Clubhouse. I also salute you and greet you, and thank you for serving our time. By the way, we are actually planning to host Governor Leo once again, if time allowed within this week. And that is where each one of you will have a chance to ask him, because now we are almost ending the show, and he was not ready for this. So he did not even speak his heart, but he was giving some information and reaffirm his record or his speech. Thank you so much to the Clubhouse members. Let me move to Honorable Ateny. Give us your opening remark, and then the governor will close. Unmute yourself. Unmute, yes.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to say the final remark before General Leo come for the closure. First, I feel relieved because the word has come out from the horse mouth. And this is what I was exactly saying. You know, I was feeling that General Leo was betrayed by those who leaked the audio, because he was not speaking to the whole world like now. He was speaking in a group. A group is actually manned by certain people. And then the audio went out. And when Awolich came with the statement to echo or to cement the point that were raised by General Elena Yang, I thought it was the process of killing by Valentino, because Aleo already has spoke, and many people knows how Aleo speak. And by the way, he was born in Tony, and I was born in Awil, and we have a lot in common. Maybe we can differ, but we have a lot in common. When I am asked to say the truth, or when I want to say the truth, even if that truth take my life the same time, I will say it. That's when General Leo was actually referring that I was also saying them. What I did not want, because, you know, Aleo, General Leo for that matter, because he's a like-minded, I don't want him to be in trouble. Maybe he was saying that I was highlighting things to the what he said to the leadership so that it could be targeted. No, that was not my intention. First of all, our country is a country of job seekers. This is a point that nobody actually mentioned. Any job, if you are a governor, you are a minister, you are what, your job, a million of people who wants it. They want it in hook, through hook and crook. And they will be designing things, some of which you have not even heard of them. I did not want the statement of General Leo to be taken by the job seekers and go and echo it the way it was not meant, the way Leo actually confirmed it today. Now, when he was able to come in, shuf, the way God does things, he did not know even the late media, but he was actually searching on. He has a Facebook account and got himself on Lake Media without being even invited. It is a blessing in disguise. Now he stands by his point. He was not there to retract any statement from his any part of his statement as he has given it. My argument was, and it is still now, Alewi is a part of leadership of the SPLM. He's not only a liberator, he's part of leadership of the SPLM. And that's why I was saying, if somebody like Alewi, okay, it is unfortunate he has gone off, I think.
Yeah, I think it's coming back.
Yeah, if somebody like Alewi, okay, could talk, let him come. Yeah, welcome back. He has come down with the photo now. We can even see him. Kala General, you can just sit now there because we are seeing you. Okay, because General Leo is not only a part of leadership council alone. Okay, he's also a very close friend to the president. Okay, and when he talked in a closed forum that was meant for certain people, and then those people went and leaked it to the public, I thought he was significantly betrayed. But now the point is clear. He stands by his statement. And also I want to agree with him that we didn't have much to disagree with. Okay? To disagree on with Abraham Awolich. I disagree with Abraham Awolich because he has already taken steps to fight the regime in Juba. I didn't take the step to fight the regime. But I am also on a point to air my grievances in the right place, the right forum. I'm waiting if there is an organization of the SPLM, then I will be able to say something from there, because I'm a delegate of 2008 convention. And how come those who were not even 10 years old in 2008 when we were in convention manage now to be the members of the political bureau of the National Liberation Council is a matter for another day. It's part of the irregularities, but we will address it on the other day, because I don't want to complain, because anything that has my grievances on it, I always leave it. That's my nature. My nature, I don't complain about my own. Okay, even when I stopped writing to you again, responding to your last article, it was against the backdrop of the people thinking that I was defending the looters. And by the way, the looters don't even know they are looters, General Leo. It is the name given to them by some people, but they don't know they are looting. Right. Okay? And when the debate, though it was intellectual, when the debate was taken the faith of seeing Abraham Awolich as the defender of the people of South Sudan interest, and I'm the defender of the looters, I found myself in the wrong side. That's why I assist the debate. You know me, back to 2001, we can debate until the administration come in to say stop and let us open another topic. I don't stop from debating things that are debated intellectually without getting in on personal. I can do that to next year. But I stopped because a friend of mine called me from Juba and he said, "You don't know how people love you But now you are taking the part that will let people actually to hate you because you are defending looters. And I said, by the way, does the looters know I'm defending them? The looters themselves, if they do they know that I was defending them? Because they will not know I was defending them because they don't know they are looters. And therefore, I was defending a vacuum. What I didn't want to say was that the country, okay, is falling apart. The country is under firm leadership of President Salva Kiir. I still believe on that. If there is any reason that will make me not to believe that President Kiir, control the country, the first thing I will do, I will resign. I will write my resignation, tender it to the right authority, and from there, I will tell them from now on, I'm not part of your vision. I will be seeking my own. The only thing that I refuse, I can never do. I don't want to be part of somebody bloodshed. Okay? Because the history, that's why everything now, the history of SPLM, everybody sees himself as a liberator. And that is why it is the liberators who are now fighting the country, are all liberators. The liberators think that they must continue to be the SPLM, even if they have even come out from it. They will continue to be the SPLM because they are fighting for yesterday, not today. Okay, so I cannot join any other party because there's no, up to now, I know there's no political party in South Sudan. It is the SPLM, which is a movement, is still a movement, and the factions of the movement who are now part of the revitalized peace agreement or resolution of the conflict. Let the party come. Let me see the party. Okay, but let me stay in the liberation struggle because this is a liberation struggle again. Sudan People Liberation Movement is still been liberating Sudan. Let me continue there. Should I want to go out from it, then I will tender my resignation, and from there I will start saying what I want to say. Finally, before I allow General Aleo, the only biggest problem that we have inherited from very, very long time is when, even during the liberation, if I look at weaknesses that will let the Arab to defeat us and try to disclose them in a manner that they will be understood within the context of the liberators. Somebody within us, a job seeker or whatever is seeking, will come out and take a debate, making me to be what? To be a traitor or a sellout. And he's now the bona fide member of liberation struggle. The same thing is continue now. Okay? You talk in the SPLM and you say something within the SPLM, even if there is no microphone, okay, the way people will be looking at you, they will look at you as if, okay, you are not there with them. You are out of touch with them. When you go and talk out, like the way when General Ale was speaking to selected members of his community, before the audio was leaked, okay, if he was also saying that within the SPLM, they could have been received the same way, by the way. So it is a matter of where you wanted to talk. You talk anywhere, and it will be the reaction will be the same. Whether you tell one person, you tell two people, you tell 10 people, you tell 100 of people, you say it within the party, the reaction will be the same. But I'm glad that General Leo, your statement about the fact that the country is being looted, okay, is 100%. I cannot even take anything out of it. I cannot add something of it. Because I don't want also to disclose my book. What is going to be the details of my book if I start now telling them? Because
I'm waiting for your memoir.
No, maybe I have the detail. Even you people don't know, but let me keep them for me and for myself and for my Lord to know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Ateny Wek, for your clarifications and for stating the facts that on how your arguments or your debate starts and how you cease to respond to Abraham Awolich. Unfortunately, Governor Leo is being interrupted by the internet, and we all understand Juba, everything is complicated, including the network. So maybe let's wait for him for a while. Maybe he will join us back for him to make it.
Maybe the network is bad. Maybe he's using the data.
Exactly.
Data. Yeah,
exactly.
but if
And
you use the Wi-Fi within the hotels there,
then it will be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we assume he said earlier that he was not prepared for this. So maybe he did not prepare himself well to look at enough bundles or connect to the internet.
Yeah. Using these.
Yeah.
Honorable, when are you going to launch your new book?
My book?
Yeah, when are you going to launch?
I am working on my book.
Okay.
I'm working on my book. Yeah, my book will have to provide my perspective of South Sudan. I will not be listening to. I will not only be relying on those who have talked about South Sudan. Dr. Adwok Nyaba talked about the country we aspire to. Dr. Francis Madingdeng, wrote several books about describing Sudan. Okay, many others has written, but my book will focus very much on even anyway, let me not disclose part of it. Anyway, my book is going to come out after Abraham Madid.
Yes.
My book is going to come out in the right time, not in the wrong time. I will calculate the time.
I hope
that's a powerful statement. At the right time, not at the wrong time.
I hope you not publish it before or after.
All right. I think, Abraham, you can contact the governor if he's coming back, and if not, then we will allow the two gentlemen to attend to other duties. I understand it's late now on the side of Honorable Ateny, and he has been here for over 3 hours, of which we, Lagos State Media, deeply appreciate your patience and your commitment to articulate the affairs of our country. Thank you so much. The same thing to Abraham Awolich. You just came back from the church, you sit and you did not even turn around. Thank you so much. Abraham Awolich?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Honorable Ateny. You want to say something?
No, I said that is why when I saw the statement will be actually taking long, I decided to do it in my house, by the way. I didn't go outside.
That's very good.
I'm doing it in my own room. I'm in my own room.
Yeah.
When I finish from here, then I just remove my clothes and sleep.
Okay.
So
I want you to know when are we going to do part 2, because there are a lot of South Sudanese in Clubhouse.
Part 2.
You guys question.
Yeah, just check Abraham. Maybe it could be available on next weekend. I will be there.
Okay.
If Abraham is available, then next weekend, from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will be there. I will be in Juba.
Okay. So we'll be.
You know that South Sudan is my full-time job, so I'm available.
You are available. Then there's no problem.
Yes.
We will meet. Just schedule between that time and then inform the public and inform us.
Okay, sound good. We will do that. We will contact to arrange the time and the date, and then we will publish the announcement out.
And also, if possible, you can just add General Aleo and let him have the proper internet.
Yes.
And we will be there.
Yeah, we
now,
will.
Now you got the solution. When you are calling me, when you are sending me a link,
hang on.
Try to send a link.
Okay,
into my email so that I use my email.
Mayan Deng did try to greeting you. Ateny. Go ahead, Mayan.
Yes, I would like to greet my former colleague Ateny Wek, and
Okay.
honorable. And I would like to just say that he has been a vocal critic of the system of governance in South Sudan, and his stance did not change. He was a press secretary, and he had to do what he had to do as a press secretary. But for a very long time, he has written his opinions, and the opinions are there for everybody to read, to know who the man is. So these are the few things that I wanted to say, and thank you, Ateny Wek, for coming up, and great to hear from you once again.
Oh, thank you, Mayan.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
If I'm to actually say something little, I will actually say thank you, Mayan, my former colleague, for the compliment and for actually weighing in to tell people who, what does I represent. I'm happy for that statement. When I was a critique, many people didn't understand what type of, the type of my writings. When I was a critique, I was not criticizing the system. I was criticizing the individual that I was thinking were squandering public monies. Okay, and those individuals, I made sure that I challenged them to the last. When I was appointed into the office of the president, the situation changes. The reason is some people say I was fighting in order to get into the office of the president or into the government, so that I don't say. When you get to the government, there's nobody who can end up as an activist for life. Even my brother Awolich will come a point in time when he would be a crucial member of government, whether a government of President Salva Kiir or government of somebody else. We don't end up as an activist for life. We knew there are countries that were governed by the activists. Okay, one of them being Zambia. But Patrick Chuluba was an activist, and he managed to sway the votes of the people, and he became the president. There's nobody who was written to be a president forever. Anybody who is a citizen can be also a president. You can be a president, you can be prime minister, you can be. But I am contented with the fact that when God gives you an opportunity to serve, you have to accept it. Like now, I'm advising South Sudanese. I'm telling them, if you have become minister and your tenure elapses, don't rebel again, because God has given you that ministerial position to be the last thing in your life. You don't need to be a president. By law, you could be a president. But if God has given you up to even vice president, after you finish from it, you just go home and sleep. Don't come back. Okay? It is the animal called pangolin. Pangolin, because he has shells in his back. He cannot maneuver around. When he gets to the branch of the tree, he will eat the branch of the tree and cannot maneuver to go to the other branch. So it throws itself down, boom, and then goes up again to another branch of the tree. People should not be doing that. Go to one branch of the tree. If you have finished it, you look for the way of going down. You go down, and then you go to where you belong. You cannot be indefinitely in a position. Okay? Like now, the problem in South Sudan is when you are in the government, people say you are not talking because you are in government. But when you are out of government, when you are talking, is because you are out of government. This is this is a mixed situation that you cannot even know what is what. Okay, but there will come a time when all of us will be speaking. By the way, and let me tell you this as a final point. Abraham Awolich or Majong Makur or Abraham Madid or Ateny Wek, we owe each other respect and space, by the way. If you don't have a space for me, I don't have a space for you. Full stop. Defending when I don't have a space for you. Am I taking you for granted? If I'm taking you for granted, you will come out and say no. Because everybody was born, to be free. Okay? I am for election. This is where I differ with Abraham. I am for election. Abraham wants the political dialogue. But for me, political dialogue will not succeed. Let's go for election. Why I'm saying let's go for election, the SPLM has now accepted the policy of primaries, which is a good thing. A wrong man will not cling into wrong place at wrong time. Again, that is why some of us who don't have even enrolled in the SPLM as delegate of 2008, we are waiting for the election of the SPLM alone. SPLM has to go for a convention. And before it goes for a convention, it goes to the grassroots. When it goes to grassroots, the only place that I wanted to start from is Malenga Alel, Awul South. I don't want Juba. Juba is something that all of us convey to Juba because we are all, anyway, we are tribal and sectional society. Okay, even if you spend 100 years in Juba, you will not be allowed to run in Juba. You will go to your motherland, your ancestral land, and you run from there. So I am waiting for those members of the SPLM, okay, to go for primaries. Okay, I will come there. I will meet them in the primaries, by the way, because it's not a blank check again being given like 2010 when people were given blank check. Okay, the corruption I fought in 2010 was the corruption of the electoral college when wrong people were allowed to take over right people. And by the way, it happened even for them, those whom we call liberators. Okay, Daniel Awet was given 0 in commitment in the electoral college, so that you even think that there was a madness that has actually caught the society. You give somebody who was the commander to you, give him 0 in commitment. Okay, so there was something. I am for election. We want the election to take place, starting from the SPLM itself, running the primaries. Okay, if they have finished organizing themselves, the SPLM, then we come now to call for the other political parties to join us in the election. Peter Berajag has formed his party. I don't know the extent of how he wanted to register his party. He has not yet come to Juba. And the parties are not registered in the United States of America. He has to come home to register his party. This is the message that should also go to Berajag Gudau, to ensure that he come to Juba so that he registers his party in Juba. For those of us in the SPLM, we will meet him in the ground. Okay? If Berajag is running in his constituency of Twitch East, okay? If I so decide to go and campaign there for the president or campaign for any other person that is running with them, because I know he will run for the presidency, I will go there freely and run and make sure that, I said last time, I said money is going to be 90% of the election. Money. So those who have money will just win while they are sleeping. That's why everybody is grabbing money here and there. But what we will do, okay, we will make them uncomfortable with our tank. We don't have money, but we have tank. We will use tank to make sure that those who are sleeping inside are even called to come out to witness what different their money is doing in the ground. We will not allow things to happen like that just because there's no any other country. We don't have any other country. South Sudan is our country. Those who think that, a dual citizen can just run any time, they shouldn't count me on dual citizen who run away from Juba. I will not.
Brother Majuk, could I come in and make a little comment on that?
Kindly, we are out of time, but I can give you
No,
2 minutes, then we will
no,
close.
Gami and I.
We will
Well,
finish the remaining business within next part 2 show.
Sure, sure. It's just this issue of the election that I want to make comment. Honorable Atany, I agree with you wholeheartedly that the country needs to have an election. There is no question about it. That is actually one of my grievances, and I believe that the president and others deliberately created situations where the election could not happen. But my concern right now is that the election that can be conducted right now, there is no foundation for it. First of all, we continue to have different militias. The president has his own militia. Some of these business tycoons have their own militia. Some of the opposition groups in the coalition government have their own militia. We don't have a unified national army that could defend the whole country and keep the politicians in check if they try to violate the constitution. That is an issue. Number two, the SPLM has started the campaign already in a marathon. They are 1 week in advance or a couple of months in advance running, and then now they want other people to compete with them, catch them. First of all, they got the money because there is no one outside the current governing institution that has money. Most of these guys who have the money now somehow are part of the Artigono. And so the money part, you are absolutely right. The system is already rigged in favor of those people who have the money. And the third thing is that the country is not united. And I can say that elections are very divisive things. They are divisive processes. Even great countries like where I am now in the United States was shaken in 2020 when they had an election. Our neighbor in Kenya, they have been having a lot of elections, but every time the whole country is shaken by elections. So we are simply saying that election must happen. But how do you go for an election now as divided people? In 2005, we were united people. And when we had that 2010 election, the country was actually very, very united. And even with that, we still had some problems. So I'm not saying that there should be no election, but we are saying the election must be preceded by some degree of political consensus in the country. We must agree on the rules of political game as a people.
The problem, there's no exit on this. I'm sorry to say this. There's no exit on this transition, which is called the revitalized government. And by the way, the revitalized government is doing more harm than even good. To continue like this? No. That's why I said any type of election, even if it is the election of this Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad, it is going to be better than nothing. Because certain people have to go to their home, their houses to stay. And
but
the election will
assumption, Honorable Ateny, that
no,
is
I
an
know,
assumption.
I know.
They will not
No,
go
I know
home.
this. No, but I know this, Abraham. I know this. That the revitalized peace agreement has brought a provision that will let it end with the election.
Right.
And it is an election of nobody to lose. They must all win. It's an election of nobody to lose. No concession. So we also want to see that type of election. We are ready to see.
Let's do
Thank you.
Let's do it, but let's try to pull the country first together.
No, the existence of any election is better than no election.
I think, thank you, Honorable Ateny and Abraham Awolich. The debate of elections is a huge topic to be tackled, because once Abraham Awolich give his opinions to why he thought there are processes that should take place before elections, it will take us another good hours. And once you explain your reason to why we should go for election over than this bureaucratic government, then it will take a lengthy time. And all of them also carried the meaning. And actually, that's why Lagos State Media take a lead on that, that we should invite a guest to come and talk about the election. It is a part of civic education to our citizens to know exactly what are the disadvantages and what are the advantages of carrying out elections or not having elections. So I think we will also put this under part 2 to be tackled on that day by 2 of you, and maybe God willing, there could be another 2 guests that may join you to discuss on the same topic. I think if there is anything that you want to wrap up your show with, then you can at least 1 minute, give word of appreciation to the citizens and your last remark to the citizen of South Sudan and other nationals that are watching you live today. Thank you. I will begin with Abraham Willie.
It would be meaningless if I say if Abraham Awolich is gone. It's about giving leadership to either Riek Machar or Lamakol. This is not like the Jiang domination needs to be put aside. How about if people of South Sudan say Machar and Lamakol involved in 1991 thing, and if any one of them run, he might be failed. And the other Jiang, maybe people love him, we're going to win. So I need to clarify about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuj. Tuj, one of the SPLM member. Abraham, will you hear that? You can add up with your.
What did he say? Can you enlighten me on that? I didn't catch the whole thing.
Okay, can you speak up a little bit, Tuj?
Okay, do you hear me now?
To some extent, yes.
Okay, you say it's a time for power to be given to Lambakol or Riek Machar or Shirelo. My question to you, you talk about Jiang domination to the political space in South Sudan. Let's say in a free and fair election, Riek Machar or Lambakol couldn't make it because of 1991 of 2013 and all these kind of things. People will not vote for them. And another guy, Jiang, is with the election. From your perspective, do you think still Jiang domination to the political arena, or the people of South Sudan has spoken and say what they want to say? Thank you. I need to clarify about that.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, when I spoke earlier, I was simply saying that
I'm in the show.
Because Governor Alewa has mentioned that he is supporting the president and he doesn't want the president to be removed. That is the same position of Honorable Ateny. My position is that I'm saying that the president has served his time, and he has struggled to keep the country together, and he has not governed the country effectively. The time has come to check other people. And I started with Governor Alewa. I said maybe the time has come for Governor Alewa or even Ateny Wek himself, or Lama Kol, or Riek Machar, or Thomas Shirilo. So it is not specifically saying that we have to give power to a particular person, but the time has come for us to have a leadership transition. And an election could be one of those. Election could be the way we can achieve the transition, provided that the conditions and the space for it is available. And so there is possibility if a non-Dinka person takes power, depending on how they are running the country, there is a possibility that the domination of the Dinka will continue, because there will still be some control over that because of the numbers. But at least the perception will be different. The perception now, and it is not even just the other ethnic groups of South Sudan, the perception now is that the country is run by the Dinkas. Even though we know that Riek Machar is there, Taban Denga is there, Waneiga is there, and other prominent like Dr. Elia Lomro are there, the general perception in the country is that because of the sheer numbers and also because of the portfolios and the appointments that are made to powerful positions, then the Dinkas are dominating the political power in the country. That is a perception, but it is also based on some facts. As I have cited, the way the Ministry of Finance has been dominated, the same thing with the defense, the same thing with the interior, and other critical power positions. And so it is not the solution. The solution is we need to democratize as a country so that people can be elected. And I don't even subscribe to the idea that you have to be elected from the place of your birth. You have to be elected from where you live. I live in Juba. I should run for a local council in Juba and I should be elected. The same thing will go. So anyway, let me stop there in answering that question. But I will make a concluding statement after. But the point is that we need to make a leadership transition. I think the president has served the country well. He made sure that we got the independence. He is credited for that. But things have gotten out of control right now in his hands. These cartels have taken over. These militias and rebellion and chaos, basically. The whole country has collapsed. This year, we got ranked as the poorest country in the world. In 2012, we were actually the best country in Africa in terms of GDP in Eastern Africa in particular. So we were better than Kenya, we were better than Uganda, we were better than Rwanda, Ethiopia, Sudan, and other countries in terms of per capita GDP. Right now, we are at the bottom. Somalia has even caught up with us. Maybe they are doing better than us right now. Why are these things happening? It is because the leadership we have now, whether Riek Machar or President Kiir and other people, are just angry, too angry, and they are busy trying to undermine each other. They are not busy trying to govern the country, which is why we have called for them to step aside. So thank you very much. Let me stop there.
Thank you so much, Awolich, for answering the questions and also giving your remark. Let me move to Honorable Ateny. Honorable Ateny, as we all agreed that we'll be having part 2 show, and on that part 2 show, I think you will be having enough time to equip yourself with the information to why we should go for elections over these bureaucratic governments. And the same thing to Awolich, why he thinks that there are certain processes that should take place before elections. And on the same note, there are questions coming in, but I refer them to the next part 2 show. One of the questions was directly directed to Honorable Ateny, that why do you normally see the wrong management or the mismanagement of a system when you are out of the government? And when most of you are inside in the government, you don't see it. So that question is dominant, and you even talk about it before. And I guess our viewers will get full contact of this during our second show. And if you want maybe to say something a little bit during your closing remark, then you are allowed within 2 minutes. Thank you.
First of all, I'm only here to thank the viewers and the moderators for having taken this extensive, long interview and for listening all along for close to 3 hours or 3 hours and 33 minutes already. This is the longest, debate of any time, including the one that make people to be president of United States doesn't go for 3 hours. And this is something that we are doing not to become the president of anywhere. So I want to thank all of you for listening. What I can only say, as I leave part of the thing to the next session, these questions of why you are only seeing things when you are outside. Did I say the thing? I say things. Did I say anything? I didn't say anything because I did not complain. Let me come to the point of complaining then, for that question to be actually useful. The question is not useful, is idiotic, and I think is sycophantic also. Sorry, I'm not saying idiotic, is sycophantic, and it doesn't subscribe to any meaningful argument. I am not complaining. I was the one who wrote about how the SPLM should continue to govern. I am not against the government, okay? But the only problem in South Sudan, they don't listen to good things. That's the problem that I got. Actually, everybody can only listen to negative part of things. Like when Abraham was talking, he made a lot of sense, but he wasn't heard correctly by the sycophants because they are now tackling him as a person, not what he come from mouth, not what come from his mouth. I could be also on the same page. Okay, that what I said, I was here in defense of the SPLM and defense of the government. Okay, I'm a citizen of South Sudan. At any time, if I'm working, I have a right. If I'm not working, also I have a right to speak about anything in South Sudan. So I'm not offended, and I think next time we will meet to discuss why I think election is better and why Abraham Awolich doesn't want the election now. We all have reasons that are justifiable. He will be justifying his point. I will justify my point when we meet.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny. And to our viewers, I will give appreciation on behalf of Lagos State Media in two categories. The first appreciation will go to our viewers. Thank you so much for spending much of your time listening to our guest every time we invited any guest to come and share his thoughts with South Sudanese. That is our duty as a media platform to provide a conducive online show for our guests to articulate their issues and their ideas. And maybe nobody knows what they speak here could help the government in one way or the other. That's why we always invite them, and we really appreciate our guests. Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny. Thank you so much, Abraham Awolich. You respond to us within a short notice invitation, and all of you responded positively. You came in well prepared, equipped, and you stayed for this lengthy time in our interview. Thank you so much. To Governor Alena Yeng, we really appreciate you for also finding that there is a show going on Lagos State Media or a debate, and then you join us. Thank you so much also for the words that you have given and actually reaffirm your positions in regard to the viral recording. Thank you so much, and we will arrange for you to come back with them, maybe possibly to come and also share your views in regard to either elections or no elections, in regard to corruptions and what should be done. Because in the next show, we'll come with the solution. All of you will be asked what will be the way forward. And I hope Honorable Ateny said earlier that instead of us complaining always, we should also provide alternative in order to give the government of the day what to go for. But if we bombard them with a complaint every time, they will not have option than to lock us out. Thank you for that, Honorable Ateny. And thank you so much for your time. Lagos State Media, don't take it for granted. It is our duty to talk. And as all of you mentioned it before, a society that always have conversation and dialogue with each other, the society that finds solution to its problems. And if we don't speak, then we will be perished. Thank you so much. I will yield it back to Abraham Adit to say a word of appreciation and thanks to Lagos State Media team, Abraham Adit, Isaac Tiang Paul, Bol Makur, and Isaac Agardemo Bok. God bless you, and may God bless us Sudan.
Thank you. I
Thank you, Makur.
Thank you. Let me tell people in Club how we will continue with the room while you guys will continue to analyze the debate. Thank you, Honorable Ateny and Ustaz Abraham and General Leo. Thank you. We will see you next time. Have a good night. May God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. See you.
All
there.
right. Thank you, German.
Thank you.
Atoyina Pierre wala rumbe, Ping William. Atoyina Will wala Pibor, Ping William. Atoyin Juba wala Tori, Ayambio, Ping William. Atoyin Benti wala Kwaju, Wow, Ping William. Atoyin Malkal wala Pinyaram, Ping William.